10,000 seats for the regular MBA program. Here we are not adding the other programs. One of our other guest faculty, he was heading the executive education area. The other programs are also there. When you have filled the CAT application form, you have seen so many programs are there. I'm just talking about the MBA seats which are there. And now it will have further increased because of the addition of NITI Mumbai, which earlier was open only to engineers, but now is IIM-Mumbai and is open to all. It's like how among the IITs, a non-engineer can apply to IIT Delhi, can apply to IIT Chennai, but cannot apply to IIT Bombay, cannot apply to IIT Kharagpur, cannot apply to IIT Kanpur. So similarly, NITI was only for engineers, and I have stayed there because during my summer internship, like IIM Code students go, and if they are having an internship in Bombay, they can stay in NITI, and NITI students can stay. So I have stayed there. So it's going to be a big shot in the arm of many of you who plan to join IIM-Mumbai or to get through IIM-Mumbai. Where do you do your MBA from is the most important question. So in my first attempt, I didn't get an IIM. I got an average institute, not a below average institute. I got PAI Management Institute. TAPMI is a very good institute because I went there for 1 month, and the faculty, the experience, the exposure, and the kind of pedagogy, the kind of personal interest that the faculty members are having into the students. At that time, there was a legendary director there, Professor Nag Brahma. So it was very good. The peer group was also very good. But when I got through TAPMI, so I went to meet Dheeraj sir at the coaching, and I told him that I am going to TAPMI, I am not happy with my CAT performance. And that time he was also interacting with 3-4 students, but those 3-4 students were the toppers of Delhi, so they were the toppers of the country only. They were like the toppers. Toppers generally means 100 percentiles, 99.99 percentiles. He told me that I am better than these students who he was training as well, and he told me it's a wrong decision of mine to go to TAPMI just because one relative of mine went to TAPMI. That's the reason, like maybe I was going to TAPMI. I had 95 percentile that year. He told me not to go, but still, sometimes it makes sense in going and seeing it for yourself. That what is that you want? TAPMI is a good institute, but it may not have what you are looking for. What you are looking for may be different from what others are looking for. It's a totally different question to different people, what they are looking for. The answers will be like very different sometimes. I went to TAPMI and I studied there for 1.5 months, and I saw that the kind of placements, the kind of whether it's summer internship or life projects or final placement, I don't think so I'll be getting what I am looking for. So again, I quit after paying the fees, after wasting, few lakhs of my mom and dad. And then again I took CAT that year, and finally I crossed that barrier of 99.5. Once you cross 99.5, you enter a safe zone. When we are talking about the old IIMs, the moment you cross 99.5, you are entering a safe zone. You will get through some good old IIM or FMS, these kind of time. So he knew it. He knew the value of doing MBA from a top B school. I did not know the value of doing MBA from a top B school. That's the reason I basically not wasted. You learn with every year. So I had to wait for 1 more year. Why this talk is important? Because you have to understand this is not an MBBS degree. This is not a BTech. You are not becoming an engineer or a doctor. The entire purpose of doing MBA is you know nothing. It's like you have seen Game of Thrones, you know nothing, Jon Snow, you know nothing actually. You don't know much about how to build a sound strategy, whether it is in the area of finance, marketing, operations, systems, HR, strategic management. You don't have the know-how. Once you start a business, even if you give your best into that business, if your product is very strong, if your service is very strong, and you are getting the right people also in your team, beyond a point you won't understand what to do. You will be completely at loss. Because you will simply not know what to do. Because you don't know. It's as simple as that. And beyond a point you will not know how to handle or grow different departments, how to increase the scale, how to like umpteen number of things that you need to do in order to grow your business empire. You won't know anything. And then you'll be dependent on consultants and people who will be in your organization. You'll be at the helm of the organization, but most of the times you'll be at a loss and you'll just be smiling or nodding your head. That's the reason the degree from a good institute becomes very important, because as you go below in terms of the entire pyramid of business schools, everything decreases in its impact. Whether it's the peer group or the placements or the professors or the freedom and independence they inculcate in you so that you can do something on your own and don't become overly dependent on others. The culture that I find in the older IIMs or a top business school and an average business school, which may not be bad. When you talk about TAPI, GIM or Great Lakes Chennai or IMI, LBA, SCO, these are not bad B schools. They are average B schools. In these B schools, everything is very regimented, everything is very defined, everything is completely disciplined, and you feel almost like you are in a school. As you go to a top business school, there is nothing which is defined because you have to create things on your own. So the entire culture, entire pedagogy, everything is built around the simple thing that you are responsible for yourself. So initially you are going to have certain bad or weird or disappointing or depressing experiences, but by the time you are passing out, no matter how you feel emotionally, but professionally, you have definitely developed a lot of skills. So you have to know what you want. Placements, of course, you can't compare. Almost all good business schools have registered an average mean placement, domestic placement, not international, of 35 lakhs. That means any student who is even decent will be getting above half of it. So you can't talk about placements of top business schools, whether it's the old IIMs or FMS or SLRI or SPGen or MBI or top IITs or IIT also now coming under CAT. CAT becomes very important. Some time ago, someone came to me and told me that, sir, like a lot of effort is put into CAT portion. Why you are not putting effort into NMAT portion? It doesn't make any sense. Because when we talk about NMAT, you have Nasiroji. In that also, the institute worth going to is only Nasiroji Mumbai for most of you who want to gain mileage out of MBA, not just do it for namesake, waste 20 lakhs, waste 2 years of your prime. Even if you talk of Nasiroji, I have students from Lucknow, from Kanpur who joined Nasiroji Mumbai, and they were not happy with the kind of experience, with the kind of placements they got. Some of them who were having businesses, family businesses, they left their jobs because they were not well-paying jobs and returned to Lucknow or Kanpur and joined their father's job or diversified that business further. It's not that I have heard anyone who has had a wow experience, that wow, I had a terrific experience. But whether a student with a high percentile or low percentile, whether a very sharp student or an average student, it does not matter. Over the past 12 years in Lucknow, whenever I have encountered a student or he or she has come to meet me at the institute and has passed out from an Ivy League, that's a very good business school. The placement has been terrific and the person is doing well. It's the same with all my batchmates, they all are doing well. Everyone, whoever is in consulting industry, they all are partners in that consulting industry, whether it's the best in the world or best in the country, or if they are doing some job, they all are head of whatever they are doing. So like if you are passing out of a certain level or degree of business school, I am telling you there's a 99.99% chance you will be having a very good future in terms of like career, very good career. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. I am saying all this because I know some of you were not happy or are not happy with your CAT performance. You don't need to go desperate in your life. You don't need to become desperate and you don't need to do something stupid, and that is by wasting not only those 2 years, but everything which will come as a result or as a consequence of those 2 years. You need to be very clear in your mind. No matter how many you think why to waste 1 year. It's not wasting money, it's actually investing money. You're looking at it, from a wrong perspective. And India is becoming very expensive. You guys need to really earn well. It's becoming very expensive. In the past 1.5 years, just out of curiosity, I have visited at least 12 to 13 countries in the last 18 months. And I found India to be the most expensive, whichever country I keep visiting. It is like going at a sky high pace here. So you have to understand that by the time you will be passing out, there will be more inflation, because inflation is not going to stop. You can't control it. Because of this, more the reason you just go to a good place. Even if some of you will think in this way that, okay, not everyone has to go to an IIM. Okay, at least go to an institute which is good, which like your family members will be going. A lot of times you choose a business school. You want to do MBA to either work for a brand or create a brand of your own. Most of the people sitting here are anyways brand conscious. In almost all developed countries that I visit, I see that the fascination, the attachment and the brand loyalty is more and more. The luxury segment, the luxury industry, the luxury brand industry is at an all-time boom. Because people in times when nothing is for certain, nothing is predictable, at least think that a brand is predictable. Because it is known for something which is very qualitative. So in such a scenario, don't join a business school. घर पे पता चला आपके घर में जो चाचा चाची आंटी अंकल पापा मम्मी उन्होंने भी पहली बार नाम सुना था, फर्स्ट टाइम। मुझे जब पहली बार जब मैं MBA की तैयारी कर रहा था, टैपनी का नाम बताया गया, तो मुझे लगा लैक्मे कंपनी बोल रहे हैं, तो मैं 2-3 बार उससे पूछा कि क्या मतलब क्या नाम क्या है, आई डिडंट नो लाइक व्हाट इज, कोई घर पे भी नहीं जानता था क्या है टैपनी, because टैपनी इज, आई हैड अ गुड एक्सपीरियंस, डोंट थिंक दैट आई एम सेइंग टैपनी इज बैड, I had a good experience. Even doing MBA from TAPMI, you can do very, very good in life, but it gets tougher. And if you're doing it once, for one time in your life, why don't do it from something, some place where like you will be feeling okay, I did something right. At least something is right. Even those people who don't support you or who keep pointing out your mistakes at home, they will also say that for once he or she did something right. But you do something when there is no debate. There is no debate whether it is good or bad. I see every year students, they go to some business schools and they start coming and educating me only, sir, this business school is even better than this business school. They change the entire level. And all these fake rankings which come in magazines and all which are of course paid. They show that देखिए हमारा business school है, इसका rank 3 है, जबकि actually उसका rank 23 होना चाहिए. Rank 3 है इसका, ये भी बोल रहे हैं. The parents also start, doing the same thing because they just everyone wants to want to feel happy. So they, even if there is no reason to feel happy, they convince themselves to feel happy. They convince others also, let's feel happy. It's good to feel happy. That's the most important thing. If you're not feeling happy, it's like the journey is more important than the result. Finally, if you go to top business school, your career will be doing very good. Everything is there, but what matters is you should be feeling good. Otherwise, why are you doing it only? No matter how cat went, don't feel bad. That's the worst thing you can do. You prepare and you see what changes. It's a mature examination. It's expecting a good level of maturity. And the problem is that at the interview stage, they are expecting double the maturity which they are expecting in CAT. So like things have become like more tough. A lot of you have done good also in CAT. Some of the scores of our CAT students of Time Lucknow and Time Kanpur are 120, 118, 108, 106, 104. It's not that students will not be getting marks. Students will be getting marks. No matter how you make the paper, people will be getting marks. They will be, if the paper is difficult, those people getting high marks will be lesser in number, but the number will be there. Like when you will be working also, when you will be finally, say, having your own business or be working in an industry, you will like to be some players in the industry, you will be having the lion's share. You can't help it, some people will be way ahead of you, always. And if you want to be a champion, you can. The good part is that there is no reservation. You can also be a champion, but you have to double your pace, triple your pace. Understand that maybe what you are thinking as a benchmark is not the right benchmark. The benchmark is way higher. people want, but they don't understand that there's a lot of work you have to do in order to get what you want. So that is a big experience, and some of you are CAT 24 students also sitting here. You have to get it that this is a good exam. The result is also good. The prize, the reward is also like very, very rewarding. But you need to show sincerity from an early time only, so that you have sufficient time towards the end, at least 3-4 months towards the end, to understand the real part, and that is what the exam is actually testing you upon, and work on those things through test taking, improvement of test taking strategy in the last 3-4 months, rather than studying in the last 3-4 months. A lot of students are not here today. Why? Because they have their SNAP examination tomorrow. Tomorrow is SNAP examination, SNAP test. But if they plan to study today for tomorrow's SNAP test, I don't understand what they do. They didn't get the examination only, that means. It's like Usain Bolt is having a 100-meter final in Olympics and he's not available a day before. You know why? He has gone for running practice. He's going to run a mountain. He won't be doing anything as such. He'll be relaxing, resting, conserving his energy. If you have seen some movies based on boxing, I don't know how many of you would have seen movies like Raging Bull. I saw it like when I was in school. Sorry, like boxer film. Robert De Niro is the boxer. They don't do anything before the match. They're not like wasting their energy. Why you want to harass yourself and do more sets, more questions, take a test? Maybe if you get bad, you don't do good in the test, you will be more harassed. Just relax. Understand the test. This is not a school test or college test. School test, college test makes all sense to study before the exam day, because even if examination is after 1 hour, I know this question is coming. Before 1 hour I start talking it up. I just go and comment it there. Make sense? But you don't know what is coming. Like no set is getting repeated. Some people ask me, the best strategy is to solve the last 5 years, last 10 years, but are they repeating? You just need to be strong in whatever is coming in terms of understanding of the concepts, and you should have practiced enough number of decent difficulty level sets, taken enough number of tests. You shouldn't leave it to chance. Still, you can't predict the result, but you can predict the range. The range is predictable. Nothing special will happen that day. So, okay, leave it. These things are important because I know some of you are, and I can relate to you because I have been in the same position, and I know it's a tough position to be in. I think that nobody is as stressed as he or she is during this part of their life, the career phase, the competitive examination phase. It's really a stressful period. It's a very stressful period. Because you can't do anything, you can't enjoy also. Like the record player is going on in your head, the career record player, the exam record player. So no matter even if you're going out for a cup of coffee with your friend, somewhere in the back of your mind you're like having the anxiety, you're like feeling like what will happen, what will happen. But anxiety is there. For most of you guys, I know that the anxiety is there when you go to sleep, when you are getting up. It's just like a walking friend, anxiety. Why? Because you're genuinely concerned about your career. If you want to do something, everyone has to do something. They start realizing it in their final year of college or when they have passed out, that they have to do something. Otherwise, till that time they are kids, they don't have this burden, they don't have that pressure. Interviews. It's the most important thing in the selection. Why? Because most of the institutes give 50% or more than 50% weightage to interview or interview and WAT or interview and GD or just interview. 50 or more than 50% weightage in final selection. So it's not like someone studied a lot, got the marks, got didn't get selected, it's over. Like what will he do? If he's a fool, then he will write, that interview, like at least the interview level. Many people say that civil se interview mein pahuncha, interview rejected. Makes no sense. That stupidity, small show off. So you have to understand that interview is another aspect which people don't pay a lot of attention to. They only do once they get a call. In interview, they are not trying to see whether you are the next big thing. Many people think that in the interview, their preparation or the projection of everything from their persona to the career has to be as such that whether they are the next big thing. They are not looking at the next big thing. They are looking simply whether you will be right fit for a seat in that institute, plus whether you'll be able to cope up with the academic curriculum, whether you'll be able to blend in to into the batch, whether you'll be able to get a decent job. So they're thinking on these parameters, less on whether you are the next Elon Musk. They are not thinking like this. World is not as dramatic as kids think it is, because till a very good age they are living in a bubble because of media and entertainment. So all you need to do is again how for CAT preparation you have to literally study, you have to prepare, you have to take tests. So for interviews, what is asked in the interview, you have to brush up on those areas, you have to prepare on those areas, and you have to be very meticulous. Why? Because the window period is less. It's not like a CAT paper where some of you are preparing 12 months, 10 months, 9 months, 8 months, 7 months, 6 months at least in advance. Interviews will be happening in March and April. So you have Jan and Feb. Plus, as some of you would have seen through your CAT experience through your CAT paper experience, you cannot bank on Feb here again. You cannot bank on Feb, so we only have January. We have time from now till end of January. Last month, if you will be okay, let's work on my academics, let's work on the current affairs, let's work on the personal PI questions tell me something about yourself, what are your strengths and weaknesses, what are your hobbies and interests, what are your short-term and long-term career goals, which is your favorite subject and why, which is your least favorite subject and why. Many questions like these, which are called PI questions, you can't be working on this or trying this in mock interviews, experimenting in your mock interviews in Feb. By Jan end, you should be prepared. Anyone preparing for CAT, from preparation point of view, should be completely prepared by September end. Completely prepared. Preparation point of view. So that entire October and November can be just dedicated to test taking and improving on test taking strategy. So you have a smaller window period. You have time till January only to prepare for interview. Let's divide this into 3 topics so that you keep giving some time on all these 3 important topics. Of course, the time that we will give initially will be more on one of these topics. So, what are these 3 areas of preparation for interview? First is PI questions. Any sort of PI question. Some of you have filled XIMP's form and called me yesterday that they had the SOP. I had to write an SOP of 500 words. What is SOP? Statement of purpose. Purpose means purpose of applying. Why are you applying? 2 questions are being asked to you whenever the word SOP is dropped. Why are you applying for this program at our institute? Why are you applying for this MBA program at our institute? And the second question is, why should we select you? Why should we select you? In the first question, the focus is you applying for an MBA program. An MBA program is basically, by an MBA, when they say MBA program, they don't mean placements here. They mean the academic curriculum. We are talking about subjects here, because what you will be doing there inside the B school is you will be also attending classes. That will be the major part actually of your stay. You will be taking classes, attending classes, you will be doing tests, taking tests, Monday tests, semester examinations, you will be making projects, giving presentations on topics. So the professor is asking you, why are you applying for our program? Where you will be taught, suppose you are interested in marketing, where you are taught consumer behavior, brand management and product policy, channel management. You are being taught subjects there. Marketing for high-tech products, business to business marketing. These are topics, these are areas, these are subjects. So they want to know why you apply. People don't get this question when they are asked in interview, okay, why are you, what do you want to do, why you want. What you want to do, certainly they start saying that I want to build $1 billion company and all these things. Why are you applying for our MBA program, their MBA program? So one is you are applying to their MBA program, and why that institute? You need to address these points carefully and specifically without being verbose. The duration of an interview is not defined. It can be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. It's not defined. So you don't know actually what will be the length of the interview. So at least you know it can be very short also. You have to save your minimum. Maxima is good enough. So in order to do so, you need to be as specific as possible. You don't need to be verbose. You have to be more objective in your answering and less subjective in your answering. Be specific. Why to select you? So you have to talk about yourself. What are you good at? When you join an MBA program, you are not only doing the course now, you are also like being a part of a group. And they see it in this way, the professor, that what can you, like, are you going to be a value add to the group? What value are you going to be adding to the group? So whether you're going to be adding value because of some specific skills that you have or some subjects that you are good at, can be many, many things. So when you are preparing for interviews, don't copy anyone. Because that student can be so good. For example, one of my friends, Shalini Mahesh, in IIM-K. She had all India rank 1 in CLA. And then this another very close friend of mine, Varun Jair. He was a CA. Right now he is the CFO of OYO. So they were adding some value. What value they were adding? That to many engineers, they were taking classes after classes. Like after the professor's class was over, during evening or late night time, like many of us used to go and attend this class, and he was a friend, he used to teach us, like he used to simplify it, and the way he was simplifying was way better than the professor, because he was one of us. They are seeing what value are you adding. Someone was very good at sports, so we knew that any sports competition is happening. This student, Vikram Devare, he is going to win in badminton, he is going to win in tennis, he is going to win in carom, he is going to win in a lot of things. What does he do right now? He has multiple sports, he owns multiple sports academies in Bangalore. His wife, also a batchmate of mine, is basically the CEO of a very big company called KKR in India. It's not Kolkata Knight Riders, we're talking about a company coming from investment finance domain here. Before that, she was basically the CEO of White Hat Junior. Before that, she was the Chief Strategic Officer of Myntra. So, but the husband, who is also like a very sharp boy, but his skill set was different. He went to an IIM, a Bangalore boy, and this girl from Allahabad, she went to IIM. This girl was more interested in investment banking, strategy consulting. He was a sportsman. They both added value, but the value they added were different. So you should not look at yourself in a negative way. You will be having something. I can bet you will be having something. One boy from IIT Delhi in my batch, Rohit Joshi, he was very good at networking. He is just into clubbing and always eating and like snacking and doing like IP messengers and all. Right now he's in a job where he's collecting all the top institutes of the country for placements and all these kind of things. He's into networking. So that was his skill. So if he's going to be presenting his answer that, sir, why I want to do MBA, he's not going to talk what someone else is going to be talking about. He'll be talking about his networking skills, what all things he has developed. He has his own groups, he's a part of some Rotary club, that time only he's doing this, that. So you have to present your candidature. Don't copy someone's candidature. The more multifaceted you will be, the higher is going to be your chances of selection. The more multifaceted you are going to come across. So it's not that someone will go and just say, I'm just good at one thing and try to completely play the interview upon it. You need to show that you'll be having, all of you will be good at 2-3 things. You don't think whether those 2-3 things are directly related to the subject or not. It can be related to the subjects also. But maybe it's not related to the subject, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to help you in becoming successful in life. We become successful because of our qualities. We all have different qualities, like unique snowflakes. So you have to, in the interview, knowing yourself is very, very important. You have to know yourself. No faculty is going to know you and going to write an answer Yesterday I was busy, so I called one student and she said that I wanted help in writing SOP, but I didn't wait for you to call back. So Jafar sir, who is here, I think somewhere, he suggested to me that why don't I use ChatGPT? And she just copy pasted, and I told her no, this is not the right thing to do. Because it's not a dead interview. You think that it's going to be a dead interview, the professor will try to ascertain you. मतलब जो भी इंटरव्यू लेंगे वो इनसाइड आउट तुम्हें समझ जाएंगे. You won't be able to hide it. So why you want to make it a fake exercise? If you have any chance of converting your best business school call, it will only happen if A, you are truthful to yourself, you know yourself, and you are able to present the good qualities that you have in yourself in the right manner. That's the only way you will be selected for sure. So knowing your strengths, I call it the central point. What is a USP document? All the good things about you. Academic, co-curricular, extracurricular, nature-wise, something else, all the good things which you think will help you in getting selected. The highlights of your candidature. What do you want to? So, out of 10 students, at least 7 to 8 students are asked, tell me something about yourself or introduce yourself in an actual interview. Why is this being done? So that you can present your candidature. In order to present your candidature, it is very, very important that you be honest. I have an example. Dheeraj sir has also helped us in training that girl, where first time she got an IIM call, she came up with a fake story, and she was going to convert her IIM calls. Second time, she didn't go with the fake stories. She got to IIM and joined and passed out also of IIM. No need to go build a fake story. It's not compulsory to have 100% goal clarity. When I went to an IIM, I wanted to go to an IIM so that I can earn a few crores early in my life. Most of the people are like this. But you can't say this, but at least I don't have to hook up a story that, sir, I want to do this, I want to do that, because I have never done that, I have never studied that, and I have no knowledge about it. And you can't simply prepare overnight. Someone will certainly say that, sir, I have always been interested in finance. And will think that in 1 month I will try to mug up as many financial terms and case studies as possible. It's not going to happen because you don't know what the professor will ask you in finance. It's like an examination. You don't know which set is going to come. So you can never be like completely prepared. It's better to stick to your strengths. Having said that, it's also important to brush up on your college subjects. Because you're going for an academic program. MBA is an academic program. So you have to be like knowing at least 60% of all the subjects that are taught to you. If you have economics as one of your subjects, you can be asked anything from economics. But it's not that they're expecting you to know everything from economics. If they ask you 5-6 questions and you know 3 of them also or 4 of them also, they're getting a hang that yes, you have studied. It's not you have wasted your time there. Otherwise, they'll think that maybe you will fail. In my year, I joined IIM Institute in 2006. In my year, 12 students failed. Till that time, they used to remove the failures. They used to keep them out of campus. So one of these 12 students, he was a lawyer, so he filed a case. And his case was nowhere written that we are going to throw us out. So that they had to change it and they had to make them repeat, but not keep them out of the institute. So they have to even see whether you will be passing the exams or not. So have you prepared something, have you studied something, and they'll be knowing your subject for sure. Whether it's a BTech stream, or it's a BCom, or a BA, or a BSc, they'll be knowing subjects. That doesn't mean that you have to start preparing for an exam. Like how many exams you are running every single thing. You should know how to swim and scan now. You are not expected to be a PhD in your subject, but you are not expected to be a complete road person in your subject. You need to carry some. किसी ने 3 से 4 साल किसी चीज की पढ़ाई की है, उसको जानेगा उसके बारे में. किया क्या है 3-4 साल. So you need to know, and they are expecting you to meet that not only the subject. So first is A, you need to know the subjects which have been taught to you. Second, apart from the subjects, you have to know about what's the latest happening in that area or in that industry. It's very, very important. That's where they are looking at the manager in you, the business guy in you. But okay, I am coming from CS background. First they'll be like, okay, reduce much I've studied. They're looking at your subjects also because they have your mark sheets. They ask you something from CS, and they go to industry 4.0, and they start asking you something latest from the field of AI, and then just ascertaining whether you're an aware guy or not. You have to be an aware guy. In an interview, you have to come across as an aware person. Sometimes I'm talking to some students and they are brilliant in academics, but they are just not there. They are unsmart, they are not social, they don't know how to communicate, they lack empathy, they have no skills in communicating, conversing, or working with not even 2-3 people, with one person. They don't know how to, there is no team spirit, so you need to work on these things because you want to go for such a program. It's not that they're forcing you. Some students will think that, okay, why will I make this extra effort and be communicative? If you are not only communicating in the interview, are you expecting the professor to be communicating in the interview? That's stupid. That's completely stupid of you. You are thinking they will be communicative. You have to be communicative. You have to highlight the good parts of your candidature. You have to sell your profile to them. You have to convince them that, sir, yes, I am the right fit for this institute. You may be thinking that अरे इतना सुना था ये तो सर बैठे कॉफी पिए मुस्कुराए खत्म बोले जाओ हो गया इंटरव्यू भी हो गया like you're expecting maybe some sort of theatrical performance. No, you are the one. You are the candidate. They are not the candidate. They are there to see with their lens. You are the one under the lens. So you have to be communicative.
अब फिर आगे जा रहे पूरा जूम भी करो दोनों तरह में मिल जाएगा.
You have to be communicative. You have to be positive. कुछ लोग होते हैं जो लोगों ने भी देखा होगा उनसे मिलोगे तो खराब लगता है मतलब डिमेंटर जैसे उनका नेचर डिमेंटर जैसा होता है वो अपने तो उनके अराउंड नेगेटिव एनर्जी है वो तुम्हारी एनर्जीज भी चूसते हैं you not feel happy in their company if you are one of those dementors. You need to change this for the interview. Again, smiling face doesn't mean that you try to smile so much and crack a joke and try to make it as if it's a stand-up. No, it's not a stand-up, it's a formal setup. Formal dressing is required. हैप्पी मैम ने पता नहीं फॉर्मल के नाम पे कुछ ज्यादा ही फॉर्मल कर दिया था पीछे एक बार और यहाँ पर मैं आप लोगों से पूछ भी सकता हूँ जितने भी प्रेजेंटेशन होते हैं that's made by Rajita मैम and Sumit sir and all. If you go to the next slide, we will be talking about mental makeup from that time because that is the most important thing in interview. I have seen interviews where the student has gone and he has been asked certain questions which are very specific questions, say 3-4 questions, and 80-90% of the times he or she was not knowing the answer, but the person had a very positive attitude and a very positive impact on the other person, they were selected. And some students have come to me and told them that सब बता दिया, सब चेक भी कर दिया, सब सही था, उनका सिलेक्शन नहीं होता, उनको इंटरव्यू में लो मार्क्स आते हैं. It's an attitudinal test. Every year there is a CAT revision. So before starting Lucknow Kanpur centers, I was at Hyderabad as a national director of time, and for CAT 2010 or 11, the CAT convener, the head of CAT that year, Professor Himanshu Rai, who is also now the director of IIM-K. So we had got him on board to answer to all the questions asked on our website. It should be a chat, daily chat. It went on for some 1 week or something like that, and he would have addressed some 1,000+ queries. Most commonly asked query: what is interview? All the time same answer coming from him. Interview is an attitudinal test. We are trying to ascertain the attitude of the gentleman, whether he or she is suitable for this program as well as career in corporate sector or management or business. It's an attitudinal test. It's very, very important. आप जैसे जाते हैं, बैठते हैं, बात करते हैं, कपड़े पहनते हैं, इससे बहुत इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है दूसरों पे, बहुत पड़ता है. लोग क्या बोलते हैं बीटेक इंस्टीट्यूट्स में यही लैकिंग होता है ना, मतलब ये सब नहीं सिखा रहे हैं, कैसे बात करना है, कैसे टीम में काम कराना है। आप अच्छे हैं तो आपको लग रहा है आप अच्छे, दूसरा खराब है उस पर्टिकुलर एरिया या सब्जेक्ट में तो आपको लग रहा है वो आदमी ही खराब है, मतलब दैट पर्सन ओनली इज शिट just because in certain things a subject or maybe two subjects you have more knowledge. These things don't work in the real life actually. Those people who are think they're too smart, they will be like क्या उसे बोलते हैं, छोटे में कर देते हैं ना, boycott कर देते हैं। You experience this in MBA. The moment your B-school journey starts for real, you are certain that you have to work on your nature. It's an attitudinal test. They are not expecting you to know all. In the DILR paper, in the bond paper, is the paper setter expecting you to know all? They are not. It's exactly what that person is testing, that are you comfortable with who you are or not? Most people are actually not comfortable with themselves. They are not comfortable. That's the reason there is perpetual anxiety, there is perpetual fear. 6 महीने बाद एग्जाम में तब भी डर लग रहा है, 1 साल बाद भी एग्जाम में तब भी डर लग रहा है, कल भी एग्जाम में तो फिर भी डर नहीं खत्म हो रहा है। ये एंजाइटी इज नॉट, so it's not comfortable with who you are. They want to be comfortable with who you are. I have shared my interview experience with so many of you that when I went for my interviews, in some of the interviews of Ivy League B schools, I was not able to answer the question, but I was selected. And it wouldn't have been only because of my CAT marks, because as you guys are aware, that half of the selection is because of the interview marks. So if someone has not given you marks, it's 100% you are not selected. Like we started, I came to Lucknow in 2012 and started time here. And one of my students from the local engineering college, IET, not IIT, she got 99.99 percentile, Tanima Chitranshi. And no matter how much I motivated her to open her mouth, to speak up, she was so shy and introverted, she didn't speak up. So she didn't convert her A call, she didn't convert her B call, she didn't convert her C call with a 99.99 percentile. Finally, she got to IIM Lucknow because the percentile maybe was so high that they didn't want to ignore this girl. She got selected. It's another thing that she became a top investment banker and she got a very good placement of more than a crore from IIM Lucknow in Nomura Bank. She's doing well. But she won't do that interviews. You have to be communicative, you have to smile, you can't. If you're introverted, okay, good, that's a personal thing, you are there professionally. You have to wake up, you have to take responsibility, you have to be proactive. You cannot expect yourself to be the same bad person you were. Because you're here outside doing work. There's a difference between home and profession. You can't so when you're at work, you cannot be who you are. You have to be what is expected of you. At home, I don't know, you can be who you are if you're lucky. So it's an attitudinal test. We'll talk a lot about knowledge. We'll have knowledge sessions starting soon where we'll be having business awareness, economics, industry 4.0 classes, Bitcoin classes. These kind of classes will be there. But that will not get you selected for sure. That's a value add. The most important thing is the person, the attitude. On top of that person is all this knowledge. जैसे लोग स्कूल जा रहे हैं बैग लेके, तो नॉलेज आपको बैग भरना है, नॉलेज में अपना पढ़ना है, खुद का सब्जेक्ट्स पढ़ना है, फेवरेट सब्जेक्ट्स पढ़ने हैं, वीकेस्ट सब्जेक्ट भी पूछे जा सकते हैं, तो उसका कुछ वीकेस्ट सब्जेक्ट का भी बेसिक आना चाहिए। प्लस एट द सेम टाइम अगर आप जो भी पढ़ रहे हैं उसका क्या इंडस्ट्री है, क्या मार्केट है, क्या लेटेस्ट है, क्या फ्यूचर है, उसके बारे में पढ़ना है, उसके बारे में जानना है। प्लस कुछ लेवल तक का बिजनेस अवेयरनेस और जनरल अवेयरनेस आपको होना है, कुछ लेवल तक का। ऐसा नहीं कि आप बाहर लेके रटना शुरू कर देना है। डॉक्स बनाइए, मैं करता था, डॉक्स बनाता था। कैसे डॉक्स बनाता था? तो टॉपिक पकड़ा जो कि बहुत ही ब्रॉड टॉपिक है, तो एफडीआई एक बहुत ब्रॉड टॉपिक है, करना चालू किया, सर्च किया एफडीआई। तो बहुत सारे पहले ही पेज पे जो भी है, बहुत सारे मेरे को उससे इंफॉर्मेशन मिल गया, उसको मैंने कॉपी पेस्ट किया, एक डॉक बना लिया उसका। और जब उसके रिसर्च कर रहा था, उसके अंदर भी जो टर्म्स मिले मुझे, हाइपरलिंक्स मिले, उनको भी सर्च करता गया। तो मेरा डॉक एक एफबीआई का डॉक ही बहुत मोटा हो गया। उसमें राउंड ट्रिपिंग भी आ रही है, एफआईआई भी आ रहा है, जीडीपी की भी अंडरस्टैंडिंग आ रही है, कुछ फैक्ट फिगर्स भी आ रहे हैं, कौन कंट्री का टॉप रैंक है, इंडिया का क्या रैंक है, कैसे बूस्ट कर सकते हैं। अगर क्वेश्चन पूछ दिया, अगर आप सरकार में होते तो एफडीआई कैसे बूस्ट करते? आप चेहरा देख रहे हैं प्रोफेसर, अरे ये तो नहीं पढ़ के आया। क्योंकि ये पढ़ने के लिए नहीं था। आपका जो रिसर्च है इतना ब्रॉड होना चाहिए, इतने वर्ड डॉक्स आपके पास होने चाहिए कि आपको कुछ बाय हार्ट नहीं करने का, रटने का जरूरत नहीं पड़ना। आपको कोई भी WAT पूछा जा रहा है, कोई भी GD आ रहा है, कोई भी इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चन पूछा जा रहा है बिजनेस अवेयरनेस का, जनरल अवेयरनेस का, फटाफट 4-5 पॉइंट्स निकल जा रहे हैं बिना रटे हुए या याद किए हुए, बिकॉज योर reservoir is good, so a lot of research is required. Foreign relations इतने important हो गए हैं आज के डेट में, इतने लड़ाई झगड़ा वॉर वगैरह चल रहा है, उस पर रिसर्च आदमी ने चालू किया तो बहुत कुछ उससे पता चला। कभी कभी उस पर रिसर्च करा, अचानक से उसको हाइपर लिंक दिख गया कि क्राइम रेट और मर्डर रेट्स क्या है किस कंट्रीज में। क्यों? क्योंकि कुछ नेगेटिव रिसर्च कर रहा है ना, वॉर्स वगैरह को लेके जो चल रहे हैं, जियोपॉलिटिकल जो टेंशन चल रहे हैं वगैरह, उसमें देखा है अच्छा इंडिया का रैंक उतना भी खराब नहीं है क्राइम रेट में या मर्डर्स पर लाख, जो मर्डर्स का निकलता है मर्डर्स पर लाख, तो मतलब कुछ डेटा ऐसे निकल गया। फ्री के डेटा भी आ रहे हैं, वो फ्री का डेटा पता चला, कुछ WAT आया था फ्री का डेटा, उसमें आपने अच्छे से चिपका दिया, मतलब रेलेवेंट थे उस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक के लिए। तो जब रिसर्च कर रहे हैं तो बहुत ज्यादा वो घोड़ों की तरह भी नहीं कर रहे हैं कि मतलब थोड़ा भी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी रखेंगे कि हाइपरलिंक लिख रहे हैं तो जान दूसरे परेशान हो गया होंगे, कौन जाएगा वो हाइपरलिंक पे भी रिसर्च करेगा, इस टॉपिक से उतना तो नहीं रिलेटेड है। ऐसा नहीं करना है, आराम से कॉफी लेके बैठिए, आइसक्रीम लेके बैठिए, कभी कुछ भी नहीं लेके बैठिए, लेकिन आपको मतलब रिलैक्स होके करना है, बिकॉज इसके कुछ घंटे नहीं कि 1 घंटे किया हो गया दिन में, मतलब ये करते रहना है, टाइम कम है ना बहुत ही, करते रहना, इंसेसेंट है। कैट की तैयारी में इंटरव्यू की तैयारी में क्या फर्क है? कैट की तैयारी आप घड़ी देके करते हो, इतना पढ़ लिया। इसमें क्या इंटरव्यू में ये नॉन स्टॉप है, मतलब you have to make it a part of your lifestyle. The research thing has to go on happening, मतलब it's continuous. You're not stopping. You're stopping only to eat, smile, breathe, relax, maybe watch a movie for a change. But you're researching a lot. अपना ज्ञान बढ़ा रहे, हो सकता है उसके बाद लाइफ में ज्ञान नहीं बढ़ाए, उतना ही काफी हो गया। फिर वो कुछ भी पूछेंगे, मैं तुम्हें बोलता हूँ 100% चांस है तो ब्लैंक नहीं होने वाला। वो WAT हो, GD हो, बहुत अभी डर लगेगा, अरे सर GD में टॉपिक आ गया, ये है क्या पता नहीं, क्योंकि वही तैयारी नहीं किया है ना, तो पता कैसे होगा? जब तैयारी करोगे, GD होगा, नॉलेज है, अच्छा फिर से नॉलेज है इसलिए तुम्हारा नहीं सिलेक्शन हो गया, तुमने मार्क्स मिलेगा GD में, सिर्फ ये याद रखना। अगर तुम बदतमीज हो, दूसरों को मौका नहीं देते हो, सेल्फिश हो, ऊंची आवाज में बात करते हो, दूसरों को बात नहीं करने देते, सिर्फ खुद का पॉइंट्स रखते हो और लिसनिंग एबिलिटी 0 है तुम्हारी, दूसरे के पॉइंट्स को बिल्कुल ही कुछ नहीं करते हो, तो तुम्हें वो सेलेक्ट नहीं करेंगे, they won't select you even though you have given some good points, अच्छा ज्ञान दिखाया है, अच्छा कुछ मतलब बताया है, जो भी टॉपिक था उस पे पॉलिटिकल, इकोनॉमिक, सोशल, टेक्नोलॉजिकल, लीगल, इन्वायरमेंटल, हर तरह के पॉइंट्स तुमने दिए हैं जो कि एक्सपेक्टेड है, लेकिन तुम्हारा सिलेक्शन नहीं हुआ क्योंकि तुम्हारा एटीट्यूड खराब। एटीट्यूड बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बिजनेस फील्ड में, क्योंकि ये सरकारी कोई तुम एग्जाम नहीं लिख रहे हो कि सरकारी दफ्तर में काम करना है, बहुत भगवान है, बाकी सब नौकर हैं और मतलब एक तरह का ही बिहेवियर है, नहीं। In corporate or in business, there is zero tolerance for bad behavior. You need to show good behavior. So they try to see these things during GD, during interview. WAT में देखते हैं opinionated तो नहीं हो, कॉलेज तो चाहिए नहीं तो लिखोगे क्या? कॉलेज नहीं है, कुछ बच्चे BA यहाँ पर कर रहे होंगे, जो सप्लीमेंट्री सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं उनके कुछ भी लिख तो पास आ जाते हैं। मतलब कभी कभी मैंने देखा है कि कुछ ऐसा लाइन लिख दिया जो कि कोर्स का ही नहीं है, सब्जेक्ट का ही नहीं है, मतलब मार्क्स मिल गए तुम्हें, लेंथ देख के लग रहा है मार्क्स में, ऐसा नहीं होने वाला WAT में। WAT is a very specific exercise. A topic has been asked. It's like how you have analytical writing in GRE and GMAT. GRE में 2 क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं, ऐसे नहीं लिख, लोगों को लगता है ऐसे लिखना है, ऐसे नहीं लिखना, WAT भी ऐसे नहीं होता। GRE में एक होता है इशू, एक होता है आर्गुमेंट। इशू क्या होता है? शुड देयर बी रिजर्वेशन फॉर वुमेन इन पार्लियामेंट, एक इशू डिस्कस किया जा रहा है और कोई क्वेश्चन स्पेसिफिकली पूछा गया है, आपको उस क्वेश्चन को एड्रेस करते हुए अपने आंसर को बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक वे में लिखना है, इधर उधर की बातें नहीं करनी। आर्गुमेंट का टॉपिक होता है कि किसी ने ऑलरेडी कुछ लिखा है कि देयर शुड नॉट बी रिजर्वेशन फॉर वुमेन इन पार्लियामेंट बिकॉज इट विल बी कॉम्प्रोमाइजिंग ऑन द मेरिट ऑफ अ पार्लियामेंटेरियन व्हेन इट कम्स टू सिलेक्शन। क्वेश्चन पूछा है, काइंडली पॉइंट आउट टू फ्लॉज इन द आर्गुमेंट गिवन। फिर तुम निकाल रहे हो कि the author here is assuming that those women who will be coming through the reservation will be compromised on merit. The specific WAT also the topic is there. You have to write specifically on that topic. इधर उधर की बातें नहीं कर सकते। That's the reason every year we train students on using the PESEL approach. PESEL PESTLE, political, economic, social, technological, legal, environmental. Because सभी कुछ important है ना आज के डेट में, environmental भी कुछ इतना important हो गया है। So it is very very important जब आप इस तरह से सोचेंगे तो अरे 2-3 पॉइंट से 3-4 पॉइंट निकल ही जाएंगे इस अम्ब्रेला में पेसल के। वो 4 पॉइंट ही हो सकता है काफी हो एक अच्छा WAT, मतलब आप भरने नहीं भरने होते WAT में। WAT सब जगह तो आता है नहीं, लेकिन मैक्सिमम टॉप इंस्टीट्यूट्स में आता है। सो वहाँ पढ़ने नहीं भरने, एक होता है ऐसे का मतलब है पढ़ने भरने चाहिए। आप स्पेसिफिक लिखें, पहले सोचें क्या लिखना है, लिखते लिखते कैसे सोच लेंगे आप ये। तो पहले आपको सोचना है, स्ट्रक्चर पहले मन में बनाना है कि क्या आप इंट्रोडक्शन करोगे, क्या कंक्लूजन करोगे, क्या बॉडी करोगे। कोशिश करना है कि कोई अगर डिबेटेबल टॉपिक है, वेदर आस्क्ड इन द इंटरव्यू और WAT और GD, सो ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ एक ही तरह से उसको प्रेजेंट करेंगे। You have to show that you can be on both sides of the table. Then only you can understand the market, because the marketplace is like made up of all kinds of people. So you can't just show one particular mentality और यही पॉइंट्स है दोनों तरफ से। आपको अगर है वैसा टॉपिक अगर है, so then you will be coming across as a balanced individual. That's very very important. So in your research also, when you're researching on topics, try to have a completely unbiased, impartial, disinterested approach in your research. फिर अच्छा मतलब सही facts पे जाओ, go by facts. It's very very important. If they ask you also to take a stand, so many things are happening. They might ask you to take a stand that okay, no, you select either here, this side or that side. So in a calculated way, present your answers. In that also try to show that you're not being biased, and on the basis of the facts available, you're forced to select a side. So GWPI में 3 चीजें करनी है। सबसे पहले PI क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स आपको बनाने हैं। हमारे बूट कैंप जैसे आप लोगों के ओमेट के एग्जाम जो लगे हुए हैं खत्म हो जाएंगे, तो इंटरव्यू की तैयारी शुरू हो जाएगी। सबसे पहले बूट कैंप्स होंगे। बूट कैंप क्या होता है, पूरे सैटरडे पूरे संडे सुबह से रात इंटरव्यूज होगा। आपको फॉर्मल्स में आना है, आपको अपना फोल्डर लेके आना है। जो बच्चों ने अच्छा परफॉर्म किया है ये एक्सेलसियस, सो जैसे आज उनको फोल्डर भी मिलेगा। You need to like buy a folder if you don't have one, because only when you buy a folder you understand you have to fill that folder. You can't go with a page. It's not compulsory to carry a folder with a lot of things, but if you go with a page, you'll feel nervous when you see other people who are there like in interviews, because they all will be having a folder, and the folder will be having a lot of documents. So buying the folder in itself will put some pressure on you that you have to make the folder. Otherwise, you try to ignore this till the end, that the folder has to be there. In the folder, you have your academic certificates, co-curricular certificates, extracurricular certificates. Hobby है strong, तो कहाँ participation है. It's not compulsory to have wins. But there should be some proof na, on paper, what all things you have been doing. Your entire candidation has to be proven. Know this part very well. You can't say something and expect them to believe you. So you try to make up for the veracity of truth part. Like how will they ascertain whether you are what you're बोल भी रहे हो कि मैं ये करता हूँ या खेलता हूँ या ये मेरी हॉबी है, मतलब कैसे मान ले, मतलब how? So अगर बिल नहीं है बड़े, but you need to show the participation. Plus your USB document. Why the USB document? They won't be asking for a USB document, but I have seen a lot of students like how some of you might have shown during the CAT examination because of the pressure. Just before the interview, suddenly you will forget all the preparation. You feel you are completely under prepared. So seeing that USB document will help you. What is this USB document? All the good things about you that you thought you will present to the interviewer. So it's good to like be there in front of your eyes. बहुत बार बच्चे इतने डर जाते हैं, उनसे कुछ बेसिक क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं, वो सोच रहे हैं कि मतलब they are not able to respond, they are not able to answer. So you need things. You need things. All the things have to be there in that particular folder. It's very very important. जो भी आप लोगों ने रिजर्वेशन स्टेटस के क्लेम किया है या जो भी आप लोगों ने मार्क्स भरे हैं, अब वो जाके चेक होता है इंटरव्यू के दौरान, और वो सब आपको एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं वो कि लेके जाएंगे आप, क्योंकि जब आपके इंटरव्यू चलते हैं उनके जो स्टाफ है वो चेक करते हैं कि आपने जो फॉर्म भरा है वो सही भरा है कि ऐसे ही भर दिया। That's the reason the folder preparation has to start, and the most important thing is first you need to, so ये next 1 week to 10 days क्या करना चाहिए, सबसे पहले क्या खत्म करना चाहिए, सारे PI क्वेश्चन जो पूछे जा सकते हैं वो खत्म करना है। Questions like name your most significant achievement as a team, कुछ भी क्वेश्चन, पर्सनल इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चन, PI क्वेश्चन, SOP रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन है, ये खत्म हो जाना चाहिए, प्रिपेयर्ड हो जाना चाहिए। प्लस इवन जो हम लोग अपने तरफ से आपको सारे टेलीग्राम ग्रुप्स में जो क्वेश्चंस इंजीनियरिंग के वेरियस स्ट्रीम्स होते हैं, साइंस के होते हैं, इकोनॉमिक्स के होते हैं, उससे पूछे जाते हैं जल्दी, वो सब भेज देंगे, बट वो सुपर सेट नहीं है, पूछ तो कुछ भी सकता है, but it's a good beginner. It's a good beginner to test where you are. ये बहुत important है. First PI questions, second academic questions पे ध्यान देंगे. Third, अगर आप वर्केक्स वाले स्टूडेंट हैं, खुद का काम, टीम का काम, डिपार्टमेंट का काम, एरिया का काम, कंपनी का काम, इंडस्ट्री में क्या चल रहा है, कौन कॉम्पिटिटर्स हैं, क्या सीखा, क्या वैल्यू ऐड किया, क्या फेलियर थी, कैसे फर्दर इन्फ्लुएंस्ड हुए कि MBA कोर्स कर लेना चाहिए, क्या इंटरेक्शन हो रहा है उन तरह के लोगों से जो कुछ MBA किए हुए हैं, तो कुछ डिफरेंस दिख रहा है कि कुछ ऐसा है, तमाम चीजों पे आपको मेहनत करना पड़ेगा। वो इंडस्ट्री के रिपोर्ट्स इतना शॉर्ट्स मिल जाएंगे, उनको विजिट करना, सब देखना, मतलब हर तरह से सॉफ्टवेयर पार्ट में क्या हुआ, क्या सीखा, क्या एक्सपीरियंस वगैरह था, ये सब। हार्डर पार्ट में क्या होगा, जो फैक्ट्स हैं, फिगर्स हैं, इंडस्ट्री रिपोर्ट्स वगैरह हैं, उनको अच्छे से देखना है। IITS का है तो गार्टनर का रिपोर्ट पढ़ लिया, मतलब यू हैव टू बी एजुकेटेड ऑन व्हाट इज इंडस्ट्री में क्या है, क्या चल रहा है, क्या फ्यूचर है। प्लस अगर टेक्नोलॉजी से वास्ता रखते हैं तो इंडस्ट्री 4.2 के बारे में भी कंपलसरी पढ़ के जाना है। क्लासेस भी लेंगे हम लोग, लेकिन पढ़ के जाना है, कुछ भी पूछ सकते हैं। मशीन लर्निंग पे ही चालू होगी क्लास, इंटरव्यू ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी पे होने लगी बात है, इंटरव्यू खत्म हो गया, तुम्हें लगा रे मैं पढ़ के गया था, टेल मी समथिंग अबाउट योरसेल्फ यहाँ पर, और कुछ और ही चल रहा है इंटरव्यू में। क्वेश्चन पूछ दिया ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी का क्या फ्यूचर है इंडिया में, स्पेशली एजुकेशन स्पेस में, क्या लगता है आपको। इसीलिए जब अभी आप रिसर्च करेंगे, मैंने बोला ब्रॉड रिसर्च रखना है, वो एक ब्रॉड क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे कि आपको क्या लगता है, आप अगर वहां इस पोजीशन में हो, या फिर मतलब they will by asking such a thing they are basically testing that तुम्हारा जो नॉलेज है वो कितना वाइड है, कितना तुमने पढ़ा है, कितना डाइवर्स है, कितना मेहनत करके तुम इंटरव्यू तक पहुंचे हो। वही मैंने बोला ना, मैच्योरिटी डबल एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं। मुझे पता है कि वो छोटे बच्चे थे, but they are expecting of maturity in paper also, in interviews also, and you have to do it। होता है ना, like when you are pushed against the wall, your best performance might come, so you need to study a lot, you need to prepare a lot, but ऐसा रटने नहीं लगता है। फिगर्स को समझो, फिगर्स को रटो मत, फिगर्स को रटोगे कंफ्यूजन हो जाएगी बहुत। और वहां पर कोई ऐसा टेस्ट, ऑब्जेक्टिव टेस्ट, जीके का टेस्ट नहीं हो रहा है कि रट के जाना है, आपको पता होना चाहिए उसके बारे में, एरिया के बारे में। तो आप बहुत पढ़ोगे किसी एरिया के बारे में, उसको अच्छा पता ही हो जाएगा। यू आर नॉट एक्सपेक्टेड टू गिव एग्जैक्ट फिगर्स ऑल द टाइम, राइट। तो आपको अगर समझ है बॉलपार्क फिगर भी, फिगर्स की जब हम बात कर रहे हैं, अगर आपसे कोई फिगर पूछते हैं या आप अपने WAT में इंटरव्यू में कोई फैक्ट बताते हैं, तो थोड़ा इधर उधर भी हो जाएंगे, तो मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि उससे आपको बहुत नेगेटिव मार्किंग हो रही है वगैरह वगैरह। उनको समझ आ जाएगा कि आपको थोड़ा अवेयरनेस टेस्ट होगी, टेस्टिंग फॉर अवेयरनेस। जनरल अवेयरनेस में क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है, बहुत कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट है। स्टार्टिंग विद सेल्फ, कहाँ से आया है वो जगह, क्या उधर चल रहा है, फिर फैसलिटी पूरे तो लखनऊ का है, यूपी का है। तो बेसल फ्रेमवर्क में आपको अपने सिटी को, डिस्ट्रिक्ट को, स्टेट को देखना होगा, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन आपके स्टेट से पॉलिटिकल भी आ सकता है, इकोनॉमिक भी आ सकता है, सोशल भी आ सकता है, टेक्नोलॉजिकल भी आ सकता है, लीगल भी आ सकता है, इन्वायरमेंटल भी आ सकता है, कुछ भी आ सकता है। तो आपको मतलब बेसल फ्रेमवर्क लेके ही जनरल अवेयरनेस, बिजनेस अवेयरनेस की तैयारी करनी पड़ेगी। फादर रेलवेज में कुछ बेसिक रेलवेज का क्वेश्चन पूछ दिया, कितने डिविजन्स हैं, वेरी बेसिक क्वेश्चंस आर आस्क्ड। मतलब योर होम टाउन, योर डिस्ट्रिक्ट, योर स्टेट, your mom, your dad, what do they do? Your brother, sister, what do they do? The question can be related to these things. You need to be very strong about yourself. तो हैदराबाद के बच्चे को थोड़ी पूछेगा भूल भुलैया के बारे में, बताओ, सेंस नहीं करेगा कि नॉनसेंसिकल क्वेश्चन, पर तुमसे पूछते हैं कि जहाँ बात आई लखनऊ कानपुर से है, चालू हो गया अवधि कुजीन की बातें चालू हो गई, और वही सब जो मतलब हो गए एक्साइटिंग क्वेश्चन होते जो नहीं है यहाँ पे, वो सब क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं। And if they see that you are not aware about yourself or where you are coming from, that's the worst thing. भले कोई केमिकल फॉर्मूला पूछे तुमने बता दिया, लेकिन कहाँ से आगे उसके बारे में नहीं पता है, तो उनको लगता है कि शायद कैंडिडेट है। That's the reason the interviews are attitudinal test, and in IIM interviews they are expecting too much attitude, because the competition is very tough. ऐसे ही जो बच्चों को कॉल आने वाला है, जैसे मैंने बोला कितने अच्छे स्कोर हैं, कितने बच्चे यहाँ बैठे हैं जिनका स्कोर 90 to 100 है, कुछ है जो 100 के ऊपर है, काफी है जो 90 to 100 और उससे भी ज्यादा है जो 80 to 90 में, और उससे भी ज्यादा है जो 70 to 80 में। जैसे जैसे पिरामिड नीचे आएगा वैसे वैसे स्कोर कम होता जाता है। अब जो लोग बहुत से कॉल भी आए हैं, उनके भी कॉम्पिटिशन इंटरव्यू की होगी कि कौन स्टैंड आउट कर रहा है, who's going to stand out? How can you stand out? You can't stand out on someone else's threshold. So that's the reason copying, taking inspiration from someone's SOP and all is the worst thing. जो तुम्हारा है उसी को मतलब खुद को अच्छे से प्रेजेंट करना है. Like whatever you have to do within. Talk to your parents. Sometimes our parents, our brothers sisters, we don't want to talk to them about these things because we know they are our biggest detractors sometimes. But maybe they will give you some good insight as well, because one of the questions asked is also what is your weakness. So sometimes we are not able to come up with our own weakness. People will write flowery answers like my weakness is I am like too hardworking, I don't give attention to my health, which is a weakness actually. But a very humble society, so we are not allowed to say this. So you can't say this in the interview that I am too hardworking. Let your boss say, let the professor write you too hardworking, like something you can't say yourself. So you have to come up with some genuine weaknesses, and now you have time also, 2 months before the interview, so that you can also talk about the improvement plan. You are bad at something, you need to work on it. So what is your improvement plan? क्या कर रहे हो? वो भी बहुत important होता है. Sometimes they are just asking what you are bad at, what's your weakness, which is your least subject, favorite subject. They just want to know how do you tackle, how do you handle these things. It's like you are fighting with someone, you can't only use your strengths, your weaknesses are also going to be targeted. So what are you doing about it? What's your strategy? There is this movie where the psychologist is telling the patient that you need to come up with some strategy every time you get worked up. Silver linings table. When he goes and he has again lost his head, and Anupam Kher is the psychologist. He says you have to come up with some plan. So they're expecting the same thing. They're expecting to know what is your plan. What is the plan that you're coming up with? You can't just brush it under the carpet because you keep coming out of the closet every now and then. So you have to. They're expecting a maturity from you, which they can't help it because they have to do selection. You can't blame them. They have to select. उनको अच्छे बच्चे दे रहे हैं, उन अच्छे बच्चों में भी कुछ को ही सेलेक्ट कर सकते हैं. The total number of seats in Blackie is not very huge also, right? So they have to make a big. So you have to work very hard, more like harder than CAT. The preparation for interview is harder than tougher than CAT because you have to do a lot and there's the time is not there. We can go to the first slide. I don't know what all things were here. We just quickly we have talked about of course. This is the session. Sumit, if you can just forward quickly. Mental makeup, the most important thing. Next, short-term preparation, we have discussed this. You don't have much time when you're talking about GWPI. Here, funny people are there, but the point is made that you have to be in formals. You can't go in like ऐसे नहीं चले जाना है कि बस एक पैंट पहना स्वेटर पहना चले गए मतलब तुम्हें फॉर्मल रहना है फॉर्मल सेटिंग है फॉर्मल सब कुछ फॉर्मल है if you work in corporate everything is formal like my first job was with a big $1 billion company where I was looking at the shipping division in India I had to wear a tie every day and a suit like you have to wear it you have no other option only if you are having your own company you can wear whatever you want lowers t-shirts shorts in real space very few companies are there where informal dressing is allowed very few companies so you need to be complete formals not even half formal semi-formal casual next I asked ma'am who put an Indian girl's pic. I told her why are you obsessed with the white skin? But she said no. She didn't like the Indian girl. Otherwise, I think it is dated, using it. Communication is the key. You have to communicate. You have to talk to whoever is your friend, your brother, your sister. You have to start communicating in English language. अगर आपको प्रोफेसर ने हिंदी में सवाल पूछा है, आप हिंदी में जवाब देंगे. इंग्लिश में पूछा है तो इंग्लिश में जवाब देंगे तो इसका मतलब हो सकता है इंग्लिश में पूछे कोई जरूरी थोड़ी है कि हिंदी में ही पूछेगा तो यू नीड टू बी कंफर्टेबल विद द लैंग्वेज हिंदी टू इंग्लिश इंग्लिश टू हिंदी नहीं आपके दिमाग में चल रहा होना चाहिए ये पॉइंट है ये कैसे समझाएं ये कैसे बताएं यू नीड टू बी एटलीस्ट दैट कंफर्टेबल इन इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज दैट यू कम्युनिकेट व्हाट यू वांट टू से you don't have to be flowery you don't have to use maxims and phrases you don't have to showcase your vocabulary just be simple, effective communication in English language, and you have to start from today itself when you're talking to your friends or your mom, dad, brother, sister. Just use the English language so that you feel comfortable. एक डेढ़ महीने बात करोगे तुम comfortable हो जाओ. You'll be comfortable. You'll be able to converse freely. Because there are a lot of people who are not comfortable with Hindi language because they are not from Hindi-speaking states. I have explained this point so many times that some of my friends in IIM-K who had come to student exchange program, they were Italians. So how do I expect them to know Hindi? So you will be divided into small groups. Well, once you join the B school, you will be always in a group. For all subjects, there will be groups. So in groups, there can be someone who is from like many people. So there is a possibility that out of 5 people, 4 of them will be from non-English speaking states. What will you do? So you have to like brush up in English to that extent, and it's not an English test that they are doing. It's just that they'll be asking questions, they'll be expecting answers, they'll be wanting to know you, your candidature, and sometimes you have to just use English language from the beginning till the end. कल भी मैंने धीरे सर को पूछा कि यहाँ हिंदी जनता है पूरी, तो क्या मतलब हिंदी में ही बात करें? धीरे सर ने बोला नहीं कर सकते हैं, धीरे सर तो यही कह रहे हैं. लेकिन बोले सर जो है हो सकता है he may not be that comfortable in the interview it can happen also so you please get comfortable with English language and you have to be communicative आप जब आंसर्स प्रिपेयर करते हैं फॉर एग्जांपल a question like why are you applying for this program आपका जो भी आंसर है आप उसको सुनाओ किसी को you practice you have to practice रटना नहीं है it shouldn't come sometimes some students are mistaking the interview process to that great extent that they are asked a question and they are like a robot. They are giving robotic answers. And the interview is telling them that लगता है you have come over prepared, you have come prepared. It shouldn't be like that. You should be relaxed in your mind. You should have the points. You don't have to like mug it up or be verbatim. You have to just know the points. And your language skills should be at least as such that you have that much ease that you can express yourself in that language. You don't have to look for words, search for words in your head, and there shouldn't be an uncomfortable, uneasy pause just because you have to communicate in English language. It's a must. It's a complete must. You have to avoid grammatical errors. You won't believe this. Few days ago, I was at the Lord's Cricket Stadium in London where they were felicitating me, and there were many, like 14 of us got the award. Except 1 or 2 people, the remaining, most of them, they didn't know how to speak English. Most of them. It's not compulsory. $1 billion अलमीरा इंडस्ट्री में कुछ है, he's very positive guy, everything, but like he doesn't know how to speak that well in English. So when he's going to the stage and he's seeing these big people, Caucasian, head of MCC and all, अपना वो बोल लिया, बोला that I can try, and he tried and he was able to communicate, and they liked his speech because he was able to communicate. So avoiding grammatical errors doesn't mean like you have to be like right correct on grammar part, but you shouldn't be like too bad also. You shouldn't be that they can make out that you're struggling with the language. You have to speak up precise answers. They are taking interviews from morning till evening. Some of them are traveling to different cities to take interviews. So when you are giving interviews to these professors, and if you are being overly verbose, overly subjective, घुमा के बात कर रहे हैं, how will that person feel? That person will feel agitated, irritated, angry. It's just that they know that there is no point expressing that anger to the student. They are just quiet. It's just that giving you less marks. That's all. They're not scolding you on face. So be precise. पूरा इधर उधर नहीं घुमाने का. जो पूछा है उसको लेके बात करो, उसका आंसर दो. एक पूछा है तो एक का ही आंसर देना है, जबरदस्ती बी का नहीं देना है. इसीलिए जो आपका नॉलेज रिसर्च भी होगा, ऐसा हो कि कोई टॉपिक पूछा है तो अननेसेसरी भी नहीं रिलेट करके किसी को कहीं भी डाल देना है, वो नहीं चलेगा. फॉर्मल टोन होना चाहिए. You need to have formal tone. This boy looking, मैम said that इसको रख लेते ये इंडियन, मुझे लगा स्पेनिश कर रहा है. So formal tone. Formal tone. मैंने देखा है, मेरे साथ ऐसा एक्सपीरियंस होता है साल में 2-3 बार. Some boy or girl will call me. बस 2-3 बार ऐसा होता है साल. वो ऐसा बात करते हैं कि घर पे किसी से लग रहा है बात कर रहे हैं, उससे जैसा बात कर रहे हैं. थोड़ा फॉर्मेलिटी करनी जरूरी है. Need to be formal. It's a formal thing. It's a formal. ठीक है, आपको इस बच्चे की तरह टाई नहीं पहनने का मन है, मत है, कंपल्सरी नहीं. कुछ लोगों को टाई में चोकिंग टाइप का फील होता है. ठीक है, it's not compulsory. But rest of the attire has to be there. Formal. You have to be formal. Formal doesn't mean being जानबूझे कि वो टाइट हो गया है और थोड़ा अपना आवाज बदल रहा है. Try to behave like a grown-up or something like that. Deliberately trying to have this, to talk normally like a student only. Just be formal. वाइवा दिया है ना आप लोगों ने कॉलेज में, थोड़ा एक फॉर्मल थिंग पूछ रहे हैं, जवाब दो. You have to be assertive, not aggressive. This is a very important point because you are going there to sell your candidature to get selected. You are sitting in GDs where you know that ये 12 बच्चे मेरे साथ बैठे हैं GD में और सब फाइट मारना है हम लोगों को सिलेक्शन पाने के लिए. तो बहुत बार क्या होता है, वो अग्रेसिव हो जाते हैं. असर्टिव होना है. In my group, one girl, Anusha, she was trying to overshadow everyone. She was not letting others speak. And the past 6 minutes हो गए थे, बस वही बोल. She was the only one like putting across a point. So I was firm. I told her that I think others would agree that you have taken, like you have offered enough points from your side, and we all should also be like discussing what we feel about the topic. Everyone agreed to it, and she had to be quiet. You have to be firm. You don't have to. I shouldn't have shouted, "Hey, Anusha, come on! Others also deserve." कभी-कभी क्या है? It's like a competition. Who's going to raise the voice? Someone is being loud. Someone is being louder. Someone is being the loudest, and it's becoming too cacophonic and too like unpleasant an experience for anyone who's witnessing it or like giving scores. So maybe they will scrap the entire process. Some of the professors I interacted with, when I asked them this question, that why did you remove the GD process? Earlier IIMs में GD होते थे और इंटरव्यू होता था. तो बोले बहुत बार ऐसा होता था कि कुछ बच्चे बदमाश थे कि वो दूसरों को बोलने का मौका नहीं देते थे, और वो जिनको बोलने का मौका नहीं दे रहे थे, बाद में जब इंटरव्यू में उनसे पूछो उस टॉपिक के बारे में तो उनको बहुत कुछ आता था. तो उनको ऐसा लगा कि कुछ जो सिविल है थोड़े बच्चे, जो थोड़ा सिविक सेंस दिखा रहे हैं, अच्छे से बिहेव कर रहे हैं, वो पीनलाइज बेचारे हो जाते हैं ग्रुप डिस्कशन के साथ, क्योंकि वो एक्टिविटी में पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करना चाह रहे ना, जिसमें एक आदमी चिल्ला रहा है, दूसरा आदमी भौंक रहा है, और मतलब ऐसा एक माहौल बना हुआ है. असर्टिव शुड बी नहीं बैठना, तो तनिमा सुप्रांशी की तरह हो जाएगा 99.99 पे ना ये ना बी ना सी. You have to be assertive. You have to talk about yourself. Proof of everything मैंने बोला है, फोल्डर. वो फोल्डर बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. It's very very important. You have to fill that folder. फोल्डर में क्या है ना, कुछ लोग बोलेंगे कि सर अब क्या स्कूल के कहां से सर्टिफिकेट्स लाएंगे, तो कॉलेज में तो कॉलेज के कुछ निकाल लो, कुछ एनजीओ पार्टिसिपेशन के भी निकाल लो। किसी का भी प्रोफाइल ऐसा नहीं होगा जिसमें सोशल वर्क कंप्लीटली एब्सेंट होता है आज के डेट में, तुम्हें पता है। यू कांट हैव अ प्रोफाइल वेयर सेल्फलेस सर्विस इज कंप्लीटली एब्सेंट from whatever you have done in 21 years, 22 years, 23 years, 24 years. You need to show something at least. Even if it is a 1 or 2 certificate of कि चले गए पेड़ पौधे मतलब प्लांट ड्राइव में चले गए, या फिर ब्लड डोनेशन ड्राइव में चले गए, क्लीनिनेस ड्राइव में चले गए, कुछ तो चाहिए। You need something, some social certificates, participation certificates that does not mean that you have to show that you are working full time or part time in NGO. That's a separate thing altogether. You need to show some social participation. जो फोल्डर रहेगा तुम्हारा उसमें कुछ सर्टिफिकेट्स होने चाहिए, कॉलेज के कुछ सर्टिफिकेट्स होने चाहिए, दूसरों के कॉलेज में जो फेस्ट वगैरह होते हैं उनके पार्टिसिपेशन भी मिले तो भी बहुत अच्छा है, वो होने चाहिए। अगर आप अपने कॉलेज में सीआर रहे हो या कुछ भी रहे हो, उसका कोई प्रूफ नहीं है, तो आप अपने प्रोफेसर से साइन कराओ उससे उनके लेटर हेड में कि ये बच्चा है, यहाँ पर सीआर था, या फिर ये एक्टिविटीज इसने किया है। बिकॉज बहुत जगह तो मिलता ही नहीं है, ना ही कोई बैच मिल रहा है एप्लीकेंट की तरफ, दिखाओगे क्या हुआ। सो आप लिखवाओ उससे, यू गेट इट रिटन। यू हैव टू फिल द फोल्डर। इट्स नॉट कंपल्सरी कि फिल द फोल्डर मींस दैट हैज टू बी लाइक सुपर हैवी। As I told you, even in your USB, some will have 10 points, some will have 5 points, some will have 6 points, some will have 3, 4 points. But you need the points. You need the paper. It's important to have paper. Maybe in most of the interviews they won't see the paper, but you still need to have the paper because you never know. Some of them might see the paper. क्या देख रहे हो? In most of the interviews there are 3 members in the panel. 3 panelists are there in most of the interviews. In some interviews, like I went to IIM-K interview, there will be 2 professors and 1 alumnus. Pass out for that issue. 3 is generally there. In IIT's interview, I had one for IIT's interview as well. 3 panelists were there. एक पूछ रहा है, एक फाइल देख रहा है, एक तुम्हें ऑब्जर्व कर रहा है, रोल बदलता जा रहा है। You need to be aware that क्या चल रहा है। सिर्फ ये you need to be aware of the जैसे मैं अभी आया, तुम लोगों को बोला रिलैक्स करो, बैठो, देखा थोड़ा तुम लोगों को, ये जगह को समझा, फिर अपना थोड़ा स्टार्ट किया कि चलो बातें करना शुरू करते हैं GWPI की। आप जब रूम में जाते हो तो ऐसे डर के मत जाया करो, डरोगे तो आंख बंद हो जाएगा। If you are scared, your brain is shut actually, and this would have specifically happened in this year's CAT examination. देखो कैट का पेपर इस बार किसके अंदर में था, पता है ना तुम लोग, किस IIM के अंदर में? IIM Lucknow. IIM Lucknow is known for having the maximum academic rigor and maximum number of failures. Basically, the professors are tough on the acad part, on the study part. That's the reason the paper is like this. Those who are planning to take CAT 24 don't get scared. Maybe maths again will be easy. It depends on which IIM is basically, which IIM has taken the responsibility of that particular year's CAT. So IIM Lucknow, whenever IIM Lucknow will be having CAT and taking CAT, giving CAT to you people, it will be like a tough paper. If you study also in IIM Lucknow, it will be tough in terms of the academic rigor. I went to IIM coaching, complete absence of academic rigor, no academic rigor. Different type of setup, different type of environment, different set of expectations that the professor is having from you. Different IIMs, they have different kind of expectations. The way they are, the way the philosophy is, everything is there. So, don't shut your mind, don't be scared. मैंने ये तक देखा है कि कुछ बच्चों का मैं इंटरव्यू ले रहा हूँ, उनसे बेसिक चीजें पूछ रहा हूँ, वो टॉपर है उस सब्जेक्ट की, उनको आ ही नहीं रहा है, मतलब बिकॉज उनको आता तो है, उनका ब्रेन शट हो गया है, fear has taken over. Dark night rises में नहीं था वो केमिकल स्प्रे करेगा and like you are seeing monsters and you are seeing whatnot. It's the same. It's exactly the same. So presence of mind is going to be tested. Sometimes you can be given a case. Not a very long case study. Not like a case study की 5 पन्ने 3 पन्ने पढ़ रहे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, वो कर रहे हैं. Some case they have given to you, and then you are supposed to ask politely for some time. and a pen paper is required. Then looking at how you think, what's your logic like, कैसा structure बनाते हो case में, क्या करते हो, it's like that. So presence of mind will be tested. Sometimes they may ask about something and you don't know completely about it, but you know about certain things which are related to it. So you need some time to recollect, to process your thoughts, and then to write in shorthand and make some structure and then present it to them. So that if you're presenting beforehand, it is not coming across as a very haphazard way of presenting. They won't tell you that jaldi karo, एक मिनट हो गया, जल्दी आंसर बताओ, तब नहीं करेंगे। इंटरव्यू में ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है, आप जा रहे हैं, यहाँ पे चिल्लाया जा रहा है, या फिर मुंह पे पानी फेंक रहे हैं, या पेपर खा के फेंक दे रहे हैं, या फिर ऐसा बोलते हैं स्ट्रेस इंटरव्यू कुछ भी कर रहे हैं, कोई तमाशा नहीं कर रहे हैं। सवाल पूछ रहे हैं, टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, आपको टाइम भी मांगोगे, टाइम भी देंगे, पेपर चाहिए, पेन चाहिए, पानी पीना है। They are not going to be cruel. So you need to take advantage of that thing, that they are giving you the time, the space that you want, so that when you present, it should come across as that yes, this guy is good, let's take him, because his way of thinking is that of a manager. Assessing the situation, looking at what all resources are available, prioritizing things, compartmentalizing things. So these kind of things will be testing. So presence of mind is very, very. तो आप में से 10 गया हो सकता है 4-5 को situational test लिया, situational test. So that presence of mind is tested. ना ही academic पूछा, ना ही business awareness पूछा, ना ही general awareness पूछा, कुछ पूछा ही नहीं, situational test लिया. देखने के लिए that आपका thought process कैसा है, how do you behave, how do you respond, कैसे manage करते हैं चीजों को. Presence of mind is very important. You have to be honest, like decision making class. If you have attended my decision making class, I told you no matter even if you are 1% dishonest, don't show that to anyone. People want to live in denial. They just want to see white. They don't want to see even 1% black. Because of which, when they ask you a question, where even if morality is involved, you have to be completely 100% moral. 100%, like ये नहीं दिखाना थोड़ी चोरी कर लेंगे, थोड़ी सेटिंग कर लेंगे, थोड़ा पैसा दे देंगे, बिल्कुल नहीं, इससे बहुत भला भी हो जाएगा, किसी का नुकसान ही क्या हो रहा है, has to be intact, completely intact. Why? Because they are expecting you to be doing business, which you are right now just thinking of CAD, interview, B-school, you are not thinking that finally you will be working in the real market. In that, if you are not going to be very moral, people come to know like this. So they are looking at whether you are going to be one of them or not. So you have to be completely honest, completely moral. Can't go on the wrong side at all. Next, this we have discussed, scenario test. We have discussed this also, the length of the interview and the panel size. We have talked about connecting the dots also. Why are you applying for this MBA program? There can be many reasons. A, first you have to research on the course curriculum of that institute of 2 years. Maybe you will be able to find many subjects that you have already learned. Whether it's microeconomics, organizational behavior, financial accounting, in statistics something which are taught. Then you will be seeing many subjects out there. Maybe you will be able to connect the dots. Business communication is also one of the subjects. So, has to be some correct, academic correct. It's not compulsory, but you are able to establish it is of huge relevance because you are finally applying for an MBA program, the academic program. Then, we have to go to the back, previous slide here. Then, you have to Google management skills, business leadership skills. So many skills will come. I bet that all of you will be able to find 1, 2, 3, 4 skills which you will be having and which you will be able to explain or showcase with the help of real life examples. Because you need proof of everything. So the academic correct can be there, the skill set correct can be there. Some of you are coming from business families, or someone in your family is an MBA, or you are working in somewhere that influence is there. There can be so many things that you can talk about as to why you want to go for an MBA program at this stage in your life. So many things. And the more things are written or said along with examples, you get points. It's very important. Some of you will be having industry connect. Every year, so many students who go to IIM from time to time, Kanpur, they are coming from backgrounds like fashion designing, hotel management. There can be industry connect. Nobody can say that मेरा कोई connect है ही नहीं. One of the girl students last year, this year she got to IIM Ahmedabad and she did her BA in English from MIT Lucknow, general category student, got 90 percentile, 90 percentile, is finally studying at IIM Ahmedabad. It's not compulsory to get a very high percentile for many. Majority of the academic streams don't require a very high percentile to get even ABC and IIM. But certain streams, because of so much competition in that stream, require very high percentile. So, BA English talked about OB, talked about business communication, talked about personality traits, talked about HR, marketing, finally got selected in IIM Ahmedabad. Nobody can say I cannot relate to MBA program. Everyone can relate to MBA program. But the relation has to be genuine. It cannot be a fake one because anyone can make out a fake relationship. Next slide. Multi-faceted personality helps a lot. It helps a lot. It's a very important thing. Because finally, I recall when I was doing my MBA, so before MBA I had experience working with UNICEF, UNESCO and Rotary International on polio plus programs and national literacy mission. So these things were very important for the B school because all B schools have social groups. So IIM is having SSG, social services group. So there will be big groups, they will be having money, they will be doing some good work in the society. So everyone will be like, that's the multifaceted personality. We need to like, everyone is required. Can put it across because it is having value. It has value today's time. Times have changed now. Co-curricular, extra-curricular में क्या फर्क है? Co-curricular जो चल रहा है ना तुम्हारे स्कूल कॉलेज के साथ-साथ, इंटर-स्कूल कॉम्पिटिशन में पार्टिसिपेट किया, co-curricular हो गया. डिस्ट्रिक्ट क्रिकेट टीम में क्रिकेट खेल रहा है, एक्स्ट्रा-करिकुलर हो गया. फर्क है. Co-curricular में और एक्स्ट्रा-करिकुलर फर्क होता है. कोशिश करना चाहिए दोनों दिखाएं, मतलब कुछ को-करिकुलर भी हो, कुछ एक्स्ट्रा-करिकुलर भी हो. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. This we have already discussed. This is the most important thing which can get you selected. Slow movement. Yes. Tell me something about yourself. The most often asked question in the interview. Tell me something about yourself. Tell me something about yourself. Don't go completely in an introductory kind of a mode that hello sir, my name is Ram Prasad Sharma, I am coming from this district, my father's name is this and I have studied from this school sir, I have done my college from this college sir, don't go like that. थोड़ा introduction दे दो, basically what's your name, where are you from, but many things are already there, they have the form, they are reading your form, before they have the form with them, the form is having things about you please try to talk about what you want to talk about. Tell me something about yourself is a free pass that they are giving to you so that you get selected. Whatever you will be talking about, there is a very high chance that the questions which will be coming henceforth will be related to what you have talked about. कोई एविएशन के बारे में बात कर रहा है, कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग की बात कर रहा है, कोई मार्केटिंग ब्रांडिंग की बात कर रहा है, कोई डिजिटल मार्केटिंग की बात कर रहा है, सबको जो बात कर रहा है वो बात कर रहे हैं. तो टेल मी समथिंग अबाउट योरसेल्फ में जो आपको बात है. तो बच्चों ये सब जो क्वेश्चन है, एसओपी, टेल मी समथिंग अबाउट योरसेल्फ, व्हाई शुड वी सेलेक्ट यू, व्हाट आर योर शॉर्ट टर्म करियर गोल्स, लॉन्ग टर्म करियर गोल्स, ये ना एक्चुअली क्वेश्चंस तुम्हें अलग-अलग दिखेंगे बट इनका 80 to 90% आंसर सेम होता है. The USP, the things you want to talk about, you are not there for chit chat. You are there to get selected. If you talk about the things which will get you selected there, in the interview. Don't waste this, tell me something about yourself. Many times I have seen students wasting this golden opportunity of tell me something about yourself. Till that time, you can, the interview is in your hands because you have been given a chance to talk about, tell me something about yourself. But after your answer, maybe पूरा का पूरा interview reactive होगा, मतलब वो कुछ पूछ रहे हैं specific और तुम react कर रहे हो या answer दे रहे हो, मतलब खुद से कुछ नहीं कर सकते. You don't have scope to move around. The scope is gone, the opportunity is gone. So tell me something about yourself will be different for different people. The sweet, small, short introduction will be the same for everyone, but the 90%, the remaining 90% of the answer purely depends on your candidature. Doesn't depend on anyone else. Next. We have talked about the USP document. It's the most important thing. It helps in keeping your answers streamlined so that you don't lose the objectivity and go on a completely random kind of an answering kind of a thing. Have to prepare your USP document. We have discussed about SOP. 2 questions are asked. Why are you applying for an MBA program in this institution and why should we select you? So from the academic connect to the skill set connect to what all other things have influenced you to what are good things about you that they should be selecting you, that is making you a good value add. All these things have to be combined and presented in a very objective manner without being verbose. That is what an SOP is, whether you apply in India or abroad. General awareness does not mean that you buy a Roma yearbook or an India yearbook and start mugging it up. Don't do that. It's not about the longest rivers and the shortest rivers and the tallest mountains and where are the island or mines situated in India. And पहले आपका जो प्रोफाइल है आप जहाँ के उसका अवेयरनेस आप स्ट्रॉन्ग करें क्योंकि वो सेल्फ रिलेटेड है, बहुत ही सेल्फ रिलेटेड है. किसी के मम्मी पापा मिलिट्री बैकग्राउंड से आ रहे हैं तो उसका अवेयरनेस मिलिट्री को लेके बैकग्राउंड को लेके और वो जो क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हैं वो अलग होगा इन कंपैरिजन टू समवन जिसको कोई लेना देना ही नहीं मिलिट्री से. सो एक तो अपना अवेयरनेस खुद का जहां से भी है वो करना है. प्लस वी विल बी हैविंग क्लासेस, वी विल बी हैविंग सेशंस, बट यू नीड टू गो ऑन रिसर्च मोड. इफ आई रैंडमली आल्सो आस्क एनी स्टूडेंट हियर टू जस्ट से 10 टॉपिक्स, वो बोलते हैं उसके जो भी मन में आए, जैसे मैंने कैसे बोल दिया था एमबीआई है, जीडीपी है और जियो पॉलिटिकल राइवलरी है या फिर कुछ भी बहुत सारे कोई भी बोल सकता है. तो आपको तो पता ही है ना ये सब है. आप जब रिसर्च करने लगोगे तो आपको खुद और टॉपिक्स लिखते जाएंगे, हम लोग पढ़ाएंगे, लेकिन आपको खुद का डॉक बनाना है. मैंने देखा है कि आप किसी का लिखा हुआ या पढ़ाया हुआ जब सीखते हैं तो उसपे आपका उतना कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आता है इन कंपैरिजन टू अगर आपने खुद रिसर्च किया है और उस 15 पॉइंट को 5 पॉइंट में समराइज किया है. वो एक अलग फील है, मतलब यू नो दैट इट्स योर. सही एक ट्रेंड चला था बेबी बोलने का, इट्स योर बेबी, इट्स माय बेबी टाइप. इट्स लाइक योर बेबी, यू नो इट, यू हैव रिसर्च्ड ऑन इट, you have basically made it. So you have to do that part. Plus we will be having sessions. Plus magazines are going to be given to all of you for the past 7-8 months. So time magazine दिखे ही जाते हैं ताकि एग्जाम और GWPI में हेल्प हो. प्लस न्यूज़पेपर में आपको फालतू न्यूज़ नहीं देखना है, जो इम्पोर्टेंट न्यूज़ है वो देखो कि ऑनलाइन न्यूज़ पढ़ो, बट आपको करंट अफेयर्स को फॉलो करना पड़ेगा. कुछ याद नहीं रहता है, जो लेटेस्ट करंट अफेयर्स है वही याद रहता है जब आप इंटरव्यू रूम में घुसे हो या जीडी करते हो या वेटी करते हो, जस्ट जो आपने पिछले 2-3 महीने में पढ़ाई की है. तो ऐसे के इतना कुछ चल रहा है, एक्टिविटीज चल रहा है इंडिया में, दुनिया भर में कुछ चल ही रहा है, पैसे लग रहा है, उसका पैसा ही कुछ हो रहा है. You start consuming current affairs, not like a UPSC aspirant that you start like waking up and doing these things and all, making notes and all. Copy paste करो, लिखने मत लगो कुछ, और बस ऐसा रटना नहीं है. जो रटने लगोगे तो अपने आप को लिमिट कर दोगे और तुम्हारा जो स्कोप है बहुत छोटा हो जाएगा. You have to keep adding, keep reading, keep adding, keep reading, keep adding. There will be a point where you will be going along. You have to go on that zone. एक चीज को नहीं पकड़ के रहना है कि सिर्फ पॉलिटिक्स पे ही ऐसा रिसर्च कर रहे हैं या सिर्फ इकोनॉमिक्स पे ही कर रहे हैं या फिर सिर्फ जो सोशल डिवाइड है इंडिया में उस पे ही कर रहे हैं या टेक्नोलॉजी फ्रंट पे सिर्फ इंडस्ट्री 4.0 ही आता है. कुछ आता ही नहीं. इंटरव्यू पे गया जिसमें आए इंदौर के इंटरव्यू पे गया, बहुत पढ़ाई करके बहुत तैयारी करके वो मुझसे क्या क्या सवाल पूछते, 2-3 सवाल पूछे, जो भी पढ़ के गया था उससे रिलेटेड नहीं था। एक पूछा कि मेरे स्टेट का हाईएस्ट पीक क्या है, मुझे नहीं पता था। कुछ रिवर के बारे में पूछा, नहीं पता था। और फिर पूछा कि आप ये सब जो किए सोशल वर्क, तो आप कुछ एक्सपीरियंशियल बताएंगे, फैक्चुअल नहीं बताएंगे। समटाइम्स यू बी लाइक एट अ बॉक्स कंप्लीटली। इसलिए अगर आप बहुत ही डाइवर्सिफाइड प्रिपरेशन करते हो, so your chances of getting stuck in the interview is very low, because maybe environmental को कुछ पूछ दिया, आपको पता है environmental के भी बारे में, ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ आप सोशल पढ़ के गए हो, टेक्नोलॉजिकल पढ़ के गए। So in general awareness or business awareness, please have the PESEL approach. We will have classes, we will discuss about them at length. और पढ़ाइए, we have discussed this. We have discussed this as well. We will be having classes on these, but you don't need to wait for the classes. Personal questions, क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हो? वही जो आज हम लोगों ने बात किया है, पर्सनल क्वेश्चंस फटाफट बनाना। हम लोग पर्सनल क्वेश्चंस का डॉक्यूमेंट भेज देंगे टेलीग्राम ग्रुप में, आप उसको बनाना स्टार्ट करेंगे। एकेडमिक क्वेश्चंस हम लोग आपको डॉक्यूमेंट भेजेंगे, बट वो सुपर सेट नहीं है, मतलब उससे आपको आपका सब्जेक्ट पता होगा कि मुझे पता होगा, वो पॉइंट्स टू रिमेंबर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं, हर चैप्टर के पीछे होते हैं, तो वो इंपॉर्टेंट डायग्राम्स, इंपॉर्टेंट मॉडल्स। जनरल अवेयरनेस क्वेश्चन के बारे में हमने बात किया, बकेट क्वेश्चन के बारे में बात किया, और इसके बाहर कुछ नहीं आ रहा है, इसके बाहर कुछ नहीं आने वाला। मतलब जैसे कैट एग्जामिनेशन कुछ बाहर का टॉपिक थोड़ी आ रहा है, द कंटेंट इज लिमिटेड, दे वोंट, वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट दीस एज वेल। फैक्ट चेक ऑर्गेनाइज करना बहुत है इंपॉर्टेंट। आप रिसर्च करेंगे, यूट्यूब चैनल देख के नहीं करेंगे। ऐसा मतलब कोई टॉपिक है, चलो भाई गुजराती का बोल लिया, बन गया मेरा, हो गया, अब यही बोल दूंगा, वहां जाके चिपका दूंगा, नहीं, ये नहीं करना, बिल्कुल नहीं करना। तुम्हें बहुत शॉकिंग लगेगा कि 90% लोग गलत फैक्ट्स बताते हैं, 90% लोग गलत फैक्ट्स बताएंगे आपको, उनको खुद नहीं फैक्ट्स पता है, क्योंकि लोग कामचोर होते हैं। कुछ सुनेंगे, उसको और मिर्च मसाला मारेंगे और पूरा मतलब अच्छा करके ताकि अट्रैक्टिव लगे, मजा ना आएगा नहीं तो लोगों को। They have to make it dramatic. Don't do that. Don't go and look at videos. Research. Do normal Google search. Don't go to videos and quote only that data which is a data coming from some credible institute, organization. किसी आदमी ने ये बोला, सुना, ये सब मत करना। वही छोटे में डिबेट हो रहा है, मैंने सुना है, कहाँ सुना है, मैंने पढ़ा था एक बार, ये सब नहीं करना। मतलब थोड़ा कोट करना इंपॉर्टेंट होता है। फैक्ट और चेक एंड ऑर्गेनाइज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट। We did a survey and we found out that for CAT examination, this year's CAT examination, there was a huge number of students who basically prepared just from YouTube, and they had horrible experience in the examination because CAT again is like a proper test. ये कोई बड़ी मजाक चल रहा है कि बस वीडियोस देख लिए। छोटे में मैंने एक बार किया था, बहुत छोटे में इकोनॉमिक्स का टेस्ट था, and I didn't want to study dumb test, मैं बस उसने इकोनॉमिक्स के ऊपर एक शो था, वो मैं देख गया। Makes no sense. You need to be real, fact check and organize. Go to the next slide. GWPI briefcase आपके स्टूडेंट होम पेज पे है। ये GWPI briefcase, करंट अफेयर्स, टॉपिक्स वगैरह बहुत सारा इंफॉर्मेशन ये सब है इसमें, फैक्ट्स। You need to explore your GWPI briefcase which is there in your student home page. It's very important. आगे बढ़ेंगे, हम लोग भी आपको भेजेंगे। आगे also setting your list of 150-200 topics which are expected to come in W88 GT. But वो हर टॉपिक पे तैयारी मत करने लगे। ब्रॉड टॉपिक उठाओ, उस पे रिसर्च करो, अपना वर्ड डॉक बनाओ, एक टॉपिक किया उससे 10 टॉपिक कवर हो गए। This is the kind of preparation that you need to do right now. ग्रुप डिस्कशन के बारे में हम लोगों ने काफी बात कर लिया है। कंटेंट इज किंग, बट लाइक वे टू प्रेजेंट द कंटेंट इज लाइक कोई बहुत टेस्टी खाना खिला रहा है पर आपके मुंह में ही खाना फेंक दे रहा है, तो आपको खाना टेस्टी का क्या है मतलब मजा थोड़ी आएगा। तो वहाँ बिहेवियर का कोई सब्स्टिट्यूट नहीं, गुड बिहेवियर हैज नो सब्स्टिट्यूट एट ऑल। थैंक यू, बट ये थैंक यू खत्म नहीं हुआ है, मतलब ये प्रेजेंटेशन खत्म हुआ है, दिस प्रेजेंटेशन इज ओवर। कुछ और भी चीजें हैं जो मैं फटाफट बात करना चाहूंगा। कैट का जो लिस्ट ऑफ बिजनेस स्कूल्स है वो आप सबके पास है, जो हम लोगों ने भेजा है। भी मत ज्वाइन करो कोई बेकार की स्कूल, बिकॉज क्या मिलेगा क्या तुम्हें, व्हाट आई वुड डू। टॉप 20 स्कूल सब जानते हैं, कैट के अंदर IIMs है, FMS है, SPGen है, MBA है, IIT है, IITs है, सभी जानते हैं। उससे एक नीचे लेवल तुम आओगे तो IIT गाजियाबाद, XIM भुवनेश्वर, IMI, DFS जो साउथ कैंपस यूनिवर्सिटी का डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टडीज, ये दिल्ली स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स, इन तरह के इंस्टीट्यूट्स आते हैं। कुछ बच्चे बहुत लकी होते हैं जिनका इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ साइंस बैंगलोर में होता है, वहाँ सीट कहाँ है, 12 तो सीट है वहाँ। फिर उनके और एक लिस्ट के नीचे आओगे, नहीं नीचे नीचे अगर हम जाए, ये सब हमने डिस्कस कर दिया, ये जो इंस्टीट्यूट्स है, नीचे जाएंगे और नीचे जाएंगे। हाँ, ये लिस्ट में आओगे तो तुम्हें ये सब इंस्टीट्यूट्स दिखेंगे और नीचे जाएंगे, यहाँ तक हम लोगों ने डिस्कस कर दिया। बस ये भी पूरा हमने डिस्कस कर दिया। 90 परसेंटाइल के ऊपर हम लोगों ने सारे इंस्टीट्यूट्स तुरंत डिस्कस कर लिए, IIMs, FMS, SPGen, MBA, IIT, IITs। फिर नीचे के सेकंड, ये फर्स्ट लेवल, सेकंड लेवल पे आते हैं हम लोग, तो हम लोग देते हैं ISC, इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ साइंस बैंगलोर, IIM शिलोंग, न्यू IIMs, DFS, DSC, IMT, XUB, ये आ जाता है। फिर एक थर्ड लिस्ट आता है। थर्ड लिस्ट जो होता है वहां से परेशानी शुरू हो जाती है। परेशानी का क्या मतलब है, बेगर्स कांट बी चूजर्स। तुम्हें जो प्लेसमेंट मिलेगा तुम्हें वही चुनना होगा, तुम्हें वही पता चले बच्चा है उसको फाइनेंस में इंटरेस्ट है लेकिन उसको मार्केटिंग का रोल मिल रहा है और उसको चुपचाप से लेना है और निकल जाना है प्लेसमेंट के प्रोसेस से। ये सबके ही साथ होता है, जैसे आप नीचे बिजनेस में आ रहे हो तो यू कांट सेलेक्ट the kind of role, the kind of company, the kind of profile that you want, it's not up to you. जब ये थर्ड लिस्ट पे आते हैं, इसमें भी बहुत सारे इंस्टीट्यूट्स खराब नहीं है ऐसे, तो I won't say that अरे who studies in UPS Chandigarh or who goes to the Institute of Economics for an MBA, it's a total waste of time. It is definitely not a waste of time. You will be adding some value to your career, but there is a catch here. The catch is you will be having a major hurdle during placement process that you will be a beggar who cannot choose. ऊपर के इंस्टीट्यूट में you choose. During my time, good students used to have 7 to 8 offers. एक एक बच्चे के पास 8 ऑफर है, तो चूज करेगा उसको जहां पढ़ने का, जहां जॉब करने का मन है, जिस तरह का जॉब करने का मन है। और फाइनल प्लेसमेंट में जब ऐसा होगा तो सोचो समर प्लेसमेंट में कैसा होगा, मतलब कहीं भी भेज दे रहे थे नीचे के इंस्टीट्यूट में, कहीं भी भेज दे रहे, भेजना है। कल मुझे एक बच्चे का मैसेज आया, वो ये 80 to 90% वाले इंस्टीट्यूट का है, अभी भी टेलीग्राम में मेरा उसका मैसेज है, उसको डिलीट नहीं किया हूं। वो पूछ रहा है कि सर मुझे 2 समर प्लेसमेंट्स के अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिले हैं, एक फ्री, लेकिन यहाँ पे तुम चौके छक्के तो नहीं मारने वाले हो, जाके प्लेसमेंट में ही तुम्हें समझ आ जाएगा। दैट्स द रीजन आई कुड दैट, बिकॉज़ आई गॉट इट। लोग बहुत अच्छे हैं, दोस्त बन गए हैं, मजा आ रहा है, यूनिवर्सिटी टाउन है, Manipal is university town, so you'll be like so amazed that you're studying at a place where like it's just college goers and students and party place and restaurants and movie halls and it's all fun. पढ़ाई भी अच्छी हो रही है, but looking at their summer placement and final placement, the kind of companies, the kind of roles, the kind of like regular जाते हैं वो उस तरह के, I decided that I have to just switch off, no matter how painful the switch off is going to be, because I won't get the same kind of opportunities. So this is very very important. But you can still go here, कम से कम fraud नहीं होगा. They won't defraud you, they won't fool you, they'll have good faculty, they'll have good arrangement there as well. और इसके नीचे अगर हम चाहते हैं, एक बार इसके भी नीचे जाओ, कुछ है ही नहीं, it's over. Because जो इंस्टीट्यूट 80% के नीचे लेते हैं, वो तो नेमसेक के लिए परसेंटाइल लेना चाह रहे हैं। अगर कल मैं चाहूँ कि चलो 5-10 करोड़ रुपए हर साल एक एक्स्ट्रा भी कमा लूं, तो मैं सजेस्ट कर दूंगा कि भाई आओ तुम ये इंस्टीट्यूट जाओ, तुम ये इंस्टीट्यूट जाओ, तुम्हें भी ऐसा लगेगा कि अच्छा आप कहीं तो जा रहे हैं, मुझे बहुत और पैसे भी मिलेंगे, करोड़ों रुपए और स्टैक अप हो जाएंगे, बट द फैक्ट इज यू बी अब्यूजिंग मी वंस यू गेट स्टक इन योर लाइफ ड्यूरिंग प्लेसमेंट्स, समर इंटर्नशिप। समर इंटर्नशिप कब होती है? समर प्लेसमेंट्स नवंबर दिसंबर में होता है। सोचो तो ज्वाइन करोगे जुलाई में, जुलाई अगस्त सितंबर अक्टूबर नवंबर से स्टार्ट हो जाता है, so you hardly get time. So the institute has to be so good that no matter how raw you are, how underprepared you are, how much what कितनी भी कमियां तुम्हें हो तुम्हारा अच्छा समझ प्लेसमेंट हो, बिकॉज तुम तो 3 महीने ज्वाइन किए हो, क्या इंटरव्यू में कर दोगे वहाँ पर, क्या बोलोगे, क्या इंस्टीट्यूट ने तुम्हारे साथ ऐसा 3 महीने में कर दिया कि तुम सुपर से ऊपर हो गए, ऐसा कुछ होने वाला है नहीं। तो इंस्टीट्यूट हैज टू बी गुड, वो तुम्हें इंस्टीट्यूट के नाम पे ले रहे हैं, तुम्हारे चेहरे को देख के तुम्हारे प्रोफाइल को देख के सेलेक्ट ही नहीं कर रहे हैं। फिर 90% ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स जो थोड़ा भी मेहनत करेंगे उनको सबको प्री प्लेसमेंट ऑफर्स मिल रहा है, सबको ही, मतलब 90% बच्चों को पीपीओ मिलेगा। जो 10% नहीं चाहते थे कि मुझे नहीं चाहिए इस कंपनी से पीपीओ, उनको पीपीओ मिलेगा। यानी कि इवन बिफोर, जैसे मेरे केस में समर इंटर्नशिप खत्म हुई और तुरंत मुझे पीपीओ मिल गया, मतलब बिफोर यू स्टार्ट योर सेकंड ईयर यू आर ऑलरेडी प्लेस्ड। So that means institute is playing a major role in pushing your career. They are basically pushing your career, giving a push to your career. You are no one, you have no experience just because you're studying in that institute. You get some high-fi summer placement, you get a pre-placement offer even though you have not finished your studies. So that's the reason when you think of MBA, you think of these things. You don't think of just management degree really है, उसकी कोई value होती है। Similarly, SNAP की हम बात करते हैं, क्योंकि कुछ बच्चे कल स्नैप का पेपर लिखने वाले हैं। SIBM पुणे, SCMHRD पुणे is okay, is good, but then other institutes which are under SNAP, they are not that good. In fact, there are so many institutes under SNAP that there are some 17, 18 institutes. SSBF, Symbiosis School of Banking and Finance. SIMC, Symbiosis Institute of Marketing Communication. There are so many, SICRS, Symbiosis Institute of Computer Research and Studies. There are so many of them. You don't have to even look at them. Why? Sectoral MBA, industry specialization related MBA is not recommended at all. One should not do this because you're at the beginning of your career, you don't do anything. So why you want to get into just one thing? Getting into one thing, you will be only getting opportunities for the rest of your life in that only one thing. What if you don't like that thing in future? What if you are not good at that thing? What will you do? Your entire MBA is wasted. It's like going to SITM, Symbiosis Institute of Telecom Management, and you have nothing to do with telecom. You are a fresher, or you have just 1-2 years of experience, and if anyone goes to SITM, he or she is just going to be like doing telecom management. And what if you don't want to do anything to do with telecom in future? Like, it's a complete waste. You'll be in severe depression. Do not select anything which is a specialized thing at this stage through a general MBA. That is generally offered by most of the top schools. They offer a general MBA. Nothing is worth it. Only if you are in a compromising mode, then you can select SIIB Pune, Symbiosis Institute of International Business Pune, or SIBM Bangalore. If you are in a compromising mode, that okay, I can't drop anymore and I have to select. Otherwise, with SIBM Pune, SCMHRD Pune is there. People think SCMHRD Pune is just for HR. No, the name is SCMHRD. It is not just for HR. It is for general MBA. Similarly with NM, there is nothing actually. Very few institutes are there. You have Nashik Mumbai, and then if you are a desperate person and you don't want to drop, some of you might even join Nashik Bangalore. What else is there? Those who are interested in HR program of IIM-K, they can also take NMAT student and apply for XUB-HR. But that you can do through CAT also, that you can do through that also. Why you need to take an exam just for that? What else is there? You have HDA Bockney. Many people don't want to join HDA Bockney, and that is not the original Bockney also. That is in Milan. This is the satellite center. The fees is high. It's not that great a B school. If you're getting it, it is okay if you don't want to drop, but you won't have to take an exam just for the HDA Bockney. And then few other institutes which may be accepting NMAT scores. Some people are telling me KJ is accepting NMAT score 1-2. They accept CAT also, they accept JAC also. So those institutes which you saw in the 80 to 90 percentile range in CAT, they accept everything. ZAT भी चलेगा, CMAT भी चलेगा, कोई भी एग्जाम चलेगा. So basically उसके लिए एक अलग NMAT को लेके उतना सरदर्द नहीं लेना है. मैं इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ ना क्योंकि कुछ एक दो बच्चे आए बहुत परेशान थे कि सर हमारा NMAT अच्छा नहीं गया और आपको जैसे आपने CAT की तैयारी आप लोग कराते हैं वैसे ही NMAT की तैयारी कराएं. क्यों कराएं? मतलब किस चीज के लिए कराएं? मतलब एक नासिक मुंबई के लिए कराएं क्या? ठीक है, हाइट मारो 2 हो गया तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, बट वो पूरा मतलब एमबीए का जो तुम्हारा प्रिपरेशन है वो इसके बेसिस पे कैसे हो सकता है? Because in front of you only have named at least 20-30 top issues which are all are accepting CAT score. So no point at all. इसमें कुछ भी नीचे तो देखने की जरूरत ही नहीं. You don't have to fight when it comes to compromise. Just don't compromise. Compromise on everything else. मोटे हो पतले नहीं होना है, खाना खाते हो लेकिन पढ़ाई करके निकालो पैसा है, बाद में पतले हो जाए. कोई और प्रॉब्लम है, कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर. ये सब चीजों में कॉम्प्रोमाइज मत करो. क्यों? ये लाइफ लॉन्ग है, मतलब इसका इम्पैक्ट लाइफ लॉन्ग रहेगा. यू विल नेवर बी एबल टू go back and like change it. The school doesn't matter, college doesn't matter, but MBA is mattering because it's a professional degree. Where you'll be working, whatever you'll be doing, it will always be with you. You can't ignore that. You can't ignore that at all. ऐसे ही ZAT की हम बात करेंगे. एक्सेल रहा है क्या? बहुत अच्छी बात है. पहले एसपी से ZAT लेता था कैट के साथ, बट अब वो तो ZAT भी नहीं लेता है, कैट ले रहा है. तो फिर ZAT में एक्सेल रहा है क्या? तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. लेकिन उसके बाद के जो इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैं, उनमें दो टॉप है IIM-K और XIM-K, वो तो कैट भी ले रहे हैं. और उसके जो नीचे इंस्टीट्यूट्स लेते हैं ZAT, वो तो कैट भी लेते हैं. तो वही मेरा पॉइंट है कि आप अगर एक लेवल के नीचे जाओगे तो सब सारे स्कोर्स लेते हैं. If you think you have missed the bus because आपका कैट अच्छा नहीं गया और आपका कोई मनपसंद का जो इंस्टीट्यूट है वो ZAT ले रहा है, तो you should give your fight for ZAT, give your fight, but you shouldn't go crazy. You should go crazy for anything actually. Don't be desperate in life. Nothing is that important. Maybe your happiness is the most important thing. You plan, follow a process. हुआ तो अच्छा है, नहीं हुआ तो फाइट मारेंगे फिर से. अच्छी जगह जाना है, but don't go crazy on it. Don't have damage your mental health. Don't do anything stupid like this. अफसोस मना रहे. किस चीज का अफसोस मना रहे हो? क्या आप ब्रेन के नीचे आ गए? आपके पैर कट गए? किस चीज का अफसोस है? साल बर्बाद हो गया. मतलब क्या हो जाता है? साल मिल भी जाता है तो व्हाट इज दिस साल में क्या हो रहा था? मतलब ऐसा था कि ये जो साल है बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसमें आप ब्रह्मांड के लीडर बन सकते थे या कुछ कर सकते थे. तो ऐसा क्या साल जाना क्या बड़ी बात है? साल चला गया मतलब लाइफ नहीं चला गया. सारे इंस्टीट्यूट ज्वाइन करोगे तो पक्का तुम्हारा करियर में बहुत दिक्कत होने वाला है, बहुत प्रॉब्लम होने वाला है. मैं देख रहा हूँ इंडिया में एक जो बहुत ही अच्छी चीज और खराब चीज हो रही है साइमल्टेनियसली. अच्छी चीज हो रही है कि कुछ लोग हैं तरक्की किए जा रहे हैं, ऊपर बढ़े जा रहे हैं. खराब चीज है कि जो गैप है, डिस्पैरिटी है, ये बढ़ते जा रहे हैं. और ये हर चीज में दिख रही है. ये इंस्टीट्यूट में भी आपको दिखेगी. जो टॉप इंस्टीट्यूट से उनके प्लेसमेंट बढ़ते ही जा रहे हैं. लग रहा है इतने फेक हैं कि बढ़ते ही जा रहे हैं. कैसे इतना बढ़ता जा रहा है साल दर साल. और जो नीचे हैं वो भी ये देख के अपने प्लेसमेंट को फेक दिखा रहे हैं, क्या दिखा रहे हैं, बट अंदर की क्या बात है? ऊपर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो रहा है, नीचे प्रॉब्लम ही प्रॉब्लम होता जा रहा है. मतलब द स्टोरी इन द बेस्ट इंस्टीट्यूट इज ट्रू एंड थिंग्स आर गोइंग गुड. यू आर सेफ, यू आर सिक्योर्ड एंड यू कैन डू बिग थिंग्स. नीचे और प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, दिक्कतें हो रही है. लास्ट ईयर 1,88,000 कैट टेकर्स थे. इस साल 2,88,000 कैट टेकर्स. सोचो 1,88,000 पे 1 लाख बढ़ जाना. सच अ बिग थिंग. क्यों बढ़ रहे हैं? क्योंकि ये जो तमाम इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस हैं या फिर नॉन इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस हैं, वहां प्लेसमेंट में स्ट्रगल हो रहा है. प्लेसमेंट मिल भी जा रहा है तो बच्चा 1 साल हो गया लेकिन जॉब शुरू नहीं हुई, बैठा है बच्चा. प्लेसमेंट हो गया है लेकिन जॉब नहीं हुई. तो फाइनली बच्चा क्या करेगा? फ्रस्ट्रेटेड होकर कहीं और कुछ छोटा मोटा देखेगा या कोई टेस्ट देगा. कि इतना हुआ कि इसके कारण कैट टेकर्स बढ़ गए. कोई ऐसा मतलब नहीं हुआ है कि कैट लोग या सडनली लोग MBA करना चाहते हैं. इट इज द लैक ऑफ जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज at college level that so many students have started opting for CAT so that at least job नहीं मिल रही तो MBA कर लो 2 साल. हो सकता है पास करते करते जॉब मार्केट अच्छा हो जाए. बट ऊपर कभी भी स्ट्रगल नहीं होता है इस तरह का. ऊपर अलग फाइट है. ऊपर आदमी सोच रहा है कैसे मस्त बने, हीरो बने, गॉड बने और कैसे अपना परफॉर्मेंस इंक्रीज करे और कैसे सब कुछ हथियार ले, शार्प मेंटालिटी रखे. मतलब थोड़ा अलग ही चल रहा है ऊपर. नीचे लोग बेचारे सर्वाइवल के लिए फाइट करते हैं. और वही प्लेसमेंट में मैंने तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात समझाई कि आप जब नीचे के डिस्कूर्स में जाने लगेंगे तो आपको वो कुछ भी पकड़ा देंगे जॉब के नाम पे और वो आपको करना होगा. नहीं तो बोलेंगे आप खुद से देखें. इसीलिए कितनी बार मैंने देखा है कि क्योंकि नीचे वाले जो बच्चे हैं जो नीचे के स्कूल्स में पढ़ रहे हैं वो जॉब के लिए भी मुझे हेल्प मांगते हैं, लिंक्डइन पे लोगों से हेल्प मांगते हैं, सीवीज अपने पोस्ट करते हैं, तो फिर MBA इंस्टीट्यूट भी ज्वाइन किया अगर इतना फाइट मारना था आपको लाइफ में। ऊपर यही होता जाता, कुछ कुछ प्रोफाइल्स हैं, अच्छे अच्छे प्रोफाइल्स हैं, जैसे कि आपको स्ट्रैटेजी कंसल्टिंग, नॉर्मल कंसल्टिंग, स्ट्रैटेजी कंसल्टिंग में रोल्स चाहिए, या अगर आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग के अच्छे रोल्स चाहिए, या आपको अच्छे पीसी कंपनी या प्राइवेट इक्विटी कंपनीज में जॉब चाहिए, तो और मतलब आप नीचे नहीं जा सकते, बिकॉज वो तो कंपनियां वो रोल ही नहीं माना जाती, तो करेंगे क्या, वहां पढ़ के क्या करेंगे। पता चला आपको करना था इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग और आपका जॉब लगा है ITC में एज एन एरिया सेल्स मैनेजर, क्योंकि वो रोल नहीं आता है वहां पर, या फिर एक बैंक में आप काम कर रहे हैं नॉर्मल रिटेल बैंक में, तो यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी पर्टिकुलर। कोई भी ओमेट की तैयारी का सबसे पहला स्रोत जो है, फाउंडेशन है, वो है आप हमारे वेबसाइट पे जाएं और ऊपर आपको लिंक मिलेगा पेपर एनालिसिस का, टेस्ट एनालिसिस, और उसमें जाके वो पर्टिकुलर पेपर का एनालिसिस देखें पिछले 4-5 साल का, आपको समझ आएगा कैसा पेपर था, क्या क्वेश्चन आए, क्या डिवीजन था, क्या स्ट्रेटेजी यूज करनी चाहिए, टॉप इंस्टीट्यूट जो उसमें है तो क्या उनका कट ऑफ चल रहा था, आपको एक पूरा बर्ड आई व्यू हो जाता है। फिर आप उसका एक वॉक में, सिर्फ एक वॉक समझने के लिए कि और क्या मुझे अपने टेस्ट टेकिंग में, प्रिपरेशन में थोड़ा फाइन ट्यूनिंग करनी पड़ेगी ताकि हम मोमेंट्स में अच्छा मार्क्स ला सकें। दिस इज हाउ यू हैव टू स्टार्ट योर मोमेंट जर्नी। मोमेंट में है ही क्या, स्नैप है, इनमैट है और ज़ैट है, क्या बचता है कुछ है तो नहीं, देयर इज नथिंग व्हिच इज देयर। सीमैट बहुत लेट होता है और कुछ इंस्टीट्यूट सीमैट लेते हैं, वो कैट भी लेते हैं, जब तक सीमैट का रिजल्ट आता है तब तक इन्हीं इंस्टीट्यूट्स में ऑलरेडी काफी इंटरव्यूज हो चुके होते हैं, और अगर उनके बहुत सीट्स फुल हो चुके हैं, फिल हो चुके हैं, तो वो हो सकता है सीमैट से उतनी सीट्स ही नहीं। सो लेट स्टोरी, सीमैट मैट बहुत पुराना, मैट तो छोड़ ही दो, मैट करना है तो MBA क्यों करने का है, सीधे जॉब करो, उसमें ही ग्रोथ हो जाती है। ऐसा थोड़ी कहीं लिखा है कि जॉब में ऐसा परफॉर्म करो तो ग्रोथ नहीं होगी, लोगों के सारे डबल ट्रिपल भी हो जाते हैं। ये कि MBA में क्या है कि आप शुरुआत ही कर रहे हैं बहुत आगे से, so major advantage which is there. So you are just talking about 3 exams. All these 3 exams are different from CAT. CAT में आपको सर फोड़ना पड़ता है, मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि देखो मुस्कुराओ निकलो, देखो मुस्कुराओ निकलो, मतलब you have to give time to set to a passage to a question and then take a call whether you want to further go on pursuing it to get the answer. But in other exams you don't have time. You just keep going, नहीं समझ आ रहा हटाओ, keep going, मतलब you need to be at a good speed, very good speed. That way you need speed but not a very good speed. In high speed you can leave questions like need to give time. That में भी वही है, इतना सारा आ रहा है, इतना सेक्शन आ रहा है, डिसीजन मेकिंग भी है, मैथ भी है, रीजनिंग भी है, इंग्लिश भी है, जीके भी है, एसए भी है, मतलब कितना ही पूछ रहा है। तो उसमें अगर आप बड़ा पैसेज है उसको करने बैठ गए, कोई थोड़ा देख के ही मुश्किल सेट लग रहा है उसको करने बैठ गए, तो आपका पेपर खराब जाएगा, यू वोंट गेट अ हाई स्कोर। बाकी पेपर जैसे ये स्नैप पेपर है, ये तो एक तरह का स्प्रिंट है, 60 मिनट 60 क्वेश्चन, ये वैसे नहीं होते हैं 60 मिनट 60 न्यूज वाले तो नहीं होते, बोले जा रहे हैं फटाफट, बहुत स्पीड चाहिए, आसान, थोड़ा भी कोई मुश्किल क्वेश्चन है छोड़ दो, दिमाग मत लगा, तब स्नैप में अच्छा स्कोर रहेगा। एडमिट में बेवकूफ लोग हैं, कोई एडेप्टिव टेस्ट नहीं लेता इंडिया में, लेकिन ये एडेप्टिव टेस्ट लेते हैं। एडेप्टिव टेस्ट क्या होता है, जीमैट टेस्ट, यानी कि क्वेश्चन आया, फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन आया, आप आंसर करोगे सही तो वो सेम लेवल या लेवल ऊपर बढ़ता जाएगा, आंसर नहीं करोगे तो सेम लेवल या लेवल ऑफ डिफिकल्टी नीचे गिरते जाएगा। सारे क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट करने पड़ते हैं, प्लस अगर कोई क्वेश्चन मुश्किल लग रहा है तो कुछ भी आंसर करके आगे बढ़ो, क्यों, पेनल्टी लग जाएगी आगे नहीं बढ़ोगे। तो जो टेस्टिंग की स्ट्रेटजी चाहिए एडेप्टिव टेस्ट के लिए, वो नॉन एडेप्टिव टेस्ट की तरह नहीं होता है, कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट होता है। The way you take a test will depend on that test. You can't have that one size fit all approach at all in anything in life, especially in these kind of examinations. So I think I have talked a lot about the test, the GWPI. Any questions so far? Even though I said I'll start with the Q&A.